policy development and access to legal materials. This is three. This includes things like trainings on legal materials or on child development. I mean, child care and child development, and legal materials like what Dr. Satak Nabani had done with the Law Hub. And healthcare is 9, and communication and IT infrastructure 3 projects. So I will leave you for now with the list of projects or interventions that you guys had implemented. So again, these numbers will not again tally the 57-44 numbers that you're seeing, because some of them might be repeating in different areas. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Madam Moderator. I yield back to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pamasa Sidibe, for that excellent presentation. We are all proud of our diaspora. As reflected on Pamasa's presentation, you can see how diverse the intervention are. You can feel the diaspora contribution in every corner of the Gambia. And not only can we quantify the total flow with this project, but also even the remittance flow that are coming in. I always argue that apart from the informal flows that are coming and are not recorded, we also have flows that come in the form of goods and services. As we can see, a lot of goods are coming. All sectors of the economy. So thank you so much. I would like to call on the next presenter today, which is a brief presentation on the DDF project. I think that have been done. Just a minute. Just 1 minute. Let me check. All right. Prof, I think Professor Jibril Fowle will be coming to give us the feature of the Diaspora Development Fund. Welcome, Prof. I'm sorry for the change in the agenda item. We'll come back and do the brief presentation on the DDF project immediately after this. Thank you. Over.
Any of the DDF fellows ready to do their presentation now? If they are, then it would be better we hear from them first.
Okay. Who can come in if he's ready. But do you want to present, or do you want me to present?
Battery is up today. This is Yahya Jammeh from Banjul. Yes, I will do the presentation if you give me the screen, or I can send it to you and put it on the screen.
Okay, I will allow you. Okay. Yes, we can.
Okay. Good afternoon, colleagues from all over the world where you are. Good afternoon, Dr. Professor Gibble. I think we met once or twice, I can't remember. But I'm presenting on behalf of Dr. Bakari John Sonko, who for personal and family reasons but couldn't be here today because he's indisposed. So I am stepping in for him at short notice. We have a few slides now to share with you. Our project is based on trying to establish a clinical lab in the Gambia. It has been a concept that both me and Bill have been working on for the last 10 years in our minds and thinking while we are all out of the country. And I was fortunate to be the one to have come back first more than before him. So I was on the ground, I think, 4 years ago when I finally came back after 25 years outside the country. So this is giving a brief of what we're trying to do. This one to take it a little bit, but what you are seeing now we're presenting is a tail end of a major conception that we and Joe had together of having bringing back some of our expertise, our resources, and our experience from outside the country to support in doing some analytic work, mainly on food and drug analysis. We were unable to raise adequate funds for that at the beginning due to many reasons, so we thought we would get a footprint establishment by building up a clinical lab analysis center first as a major input into the area. Once we test the ground and we can show we can move on, building on that, we can then develop on the resources. So what we are saying is a small concept of the major idea we had before. The objective of this particular setting of the lab is to provide accurate, reliable, and timely clinical diagnostic laboratory tests in all these current capabilities which we haven't got to the Gambian population. And this is because we wanted international standard lab testing facilities that can be relied on to be established here. And I want to compromise on the quality. Number three, it took a while for us to be recognized. It took a while for patients and doctors to know where we are. And so the patient flow was a bit slow. It's still slow, but slowly picking up much faster now than 6 months ago. Because we get all our equipment and reagents from the US and UK and some from India, it is quite expensive. And that put the cost of our test a little bit higher than normal. Though we did compare cost around that, and we bring it down to normal level, which will cut down on the way we will ever have to recover any of this cost anyway in the first place. In ability to meet customer demand, we were going to do clinical lab tests and then go to scanning and imaging. We haven't moved that around yet because of capital cost constraints. We found the cost of rent a little bit higher than we expected at the beginning when we were planning this. Next steps. Clearly, after 2 years operation, we are almost sure now that there is a unique demand for reliable clinical services within the health services. There is even more demand for, which we haven't got yet, of food and drug analysis, if anybody can venture into that, which is a very capital one, but there is a clear need for private investment in providing reliable, good analysis for food and drugs. Three, we thought we will expand in the next couple of months into X-rays, ultrasounds, and mammograms, imaging. We're trying to raise funds for that now. I don't know how long it's going to take, but we will try to get that part of customer base. Yeah, intensify public information for IEC to increase our customer uptake, and there is room for expansion in the sub-region. I think that's about it, ladies and gentlemen. We want to thank MSDG and its partners for its support that's provided through the Diaspora Development Fund at the critical junctions of our project. And we hope this collaboration and support will continue to help us overcome some of our major challenges going forward. Thank you. I hope I was within time.
Yes, thank you so much. That was excellent presentation, and thanks for all the effort in complementing the work of all stakeholders to make sure that health service is developed and accessible and also relevant to the needs of the population. Thank you. So our next presenter today will be the Music Studio Skill Training Project. This is a diaspora from Norway in the entertainment industry by the name Yahya Jammeh. You're welcome, Singate.
Hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. The floor is yours.
I want to go on the video so the people who haven't seen what you guys contributed can see as well. Yeah, am I on live now?
You are.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Just a second. Good afternoon to you all. Good afternoon to all the fellows as well. My name is Yahya Jammeh, a Gambian living in Norway. I'm a musician, a producer, and a sound engineer at the same time. The name of my project is called Music Studio Skill Training, which includes music production, studio techniques, mixing and mastering. And of course, the most important part is the mentorship programming and branding as an upcoming artist. The project was mainly focused on the youth, because today we know most of the youths want to be musicians because they think that there's a chance for them to uplift themselves, seeing the like of other artists like Jizzle, ST, Attack, well, young people like them, and then they were able to make a living out of music. So to discourage the youth from idleness, discourage them from sitting in the ghetto, discourage them from doing whatever we try to advocate for. So having the studio has changed a lot. And whether you guys know or not, up to today, the youths have been knocking on my door to make sure that they have the chance to come here. So the output and the impact of the project has been one of the most talked about and recognized projects in the history of contemporary music in the Gambia. The project has given opportunity to many youths, both amateur and experienced artists as well. Most of them lack or never had the opportunity of pay in a studio. We all know today to have a full complete song, if it has to be a commercial song, it will cost you nothing less than 16,000, 17,000, or even more, depending on the quality that you are looking for. So having this project set, and then having over 60 people who applied for this project, but unfortunately we couldn't take all the 60, but I was able to have about 27 to 28 people who came through, and they all had a song that would have cost them 2 or 3 songs that would have cost them a lot of money, as I mentioned before. So this project has opened the door for a lot of them. And then most of them, they have an idea. But being a musician before, I told them this project, I called it transforming your passion into profession. For me, as a young man, after I graduated from school, singing was a passion for me. But then later on did I realize that I have a talent, and that's what I used that passion and change it to a profession. But alhamdulillah, today, I achieved a lot at the Gambian level, I could say. And then being a musician has taken me to so many places in the world while I still live in the Gambia before I settled in Norway. So the feedbacks that we received also as far as the project is concerned, it's been very unanimous, but because every session that I do, people that have been following up, I've been putting on Facebook updates, Instagram updates, Twitter updates. So the project is very visible. People have been seeing what we have been doing, not just to come do this, but in real life, they've been following the project. From the construction of the studio itself to the finishing of the studio, everything has been broadcast. So people, yeah, hello?
Kindly proceed. There's
It's fine.
You guys are hearing me, right? Or am I speaking a little faster?
No, it's fine. You can proceed.
All right, thank you. So it's like the feedback has been very big, and then it was very easy to get all these kids, people with no background, and then they all had the chance to come here, so which was very appealing as far as I'm concerned. I think the 6 months that we spent on the MSTG project was very amazing, and then the feedback was great as well. And the facts and the figures, when the project was advertised, as I said, we have over 60 people, but we couldn't take all of them. And then these people are kids and young people from different backgrounds and regions. We have people who are living in the greater Banjul area. People come from Basse just to come here. And most important, those are the people I have even given chances to, because they come from far, from Basse, Arafrenye, Bantang, where I came from. And then they all came here because they want to do something, and they have seen that it is a free project whereby they can benefit from. So the project was not only based on studio recording, as I said before as well. We have transformed a lot of artists, like in their biography, how to present themselves, how to brand themselves. And then most of the time, what I told them is, I have never been the best artist in the country, but then the way I put myself and the way I design my team, the way I build my career, that's what's different between me and a lot of other artists. So it's the same thing I have been putting up to these young artists to make sure, let them know, using drugs doesn't make you a better singer. Drinking alcohol doesn't make you a better singer. It's all about the passion of what you wanted to do. And these have helped a lot of them, their mode of dressing, their mode of approaching people, their lyrics as well. Today we know most people don't listen to the music we are hearing because of the F words, because of the uncensored word that they use. So here, I make sure that we work more on them to guide them through. So that we have worked on a lot, and it went really well as far as the project is concerned. Then the challenges and the opportunities as well. We all know in Gambia, in as much how much fund you have, it is always difficult to get things done the way you want it. And the most difficult part was time management. But then doing what you love doing keeps me going. Because like most of them, you give them a time of 1 o'clock, they'll show up at 3 o'clock. So which was very frustrating. I have to use some strict methods to make sure when you are late for your session, I cancel it and I make sure you come like a week later or 2 weeks later. So that helped them a lot. And then most of them will speak at my back, like they be gossiping that moment. He acted like too much as a Western. But what I used to tell them about time management is not only about your talent. Time also contribute to your success and your commitment in what you do. So that has helped a lot. People who have been denied to come to the studio 1 or 2 times, now when you tell them 12 o'clock in the morning, they will come 12 o'clock. So that was challenging, but then later on we were able to find a solution to that. And the opportunities as well. Yeah, just this last one, I guess. Can you hear me?
Yes, carry on.
Yes. So the opportunities that this project created, I know it has created a lot for the trainees and the artists that come to the studio. But for myself personally, I've been in Gambia for over 9 months. So the exposure of the MSDG project online has created the studio and given the studio a platform that up to today that the project is finished, my studio is one of the most busiest studio in the country. This was due to the exposure of the MSDG project that I put outside. So people have been reaching. While I was doing the project, I've been mixing for big artists in the country here, a lot of different albums, about 4 or 5 different albums, and also some international artists that lives abroad that are not in Gambia. So the exposure of the project has created a lot of opportunities for myself, so that's motivate me more to stay here. Or I didn't be in the studio has not been functioning, there's no opportunities. By now, I would have gone back to Norway after 6 months. So I would love to say a big thanks to MSDG for the project. And then speaking on behalf of the kids that come here, as they say in Wolof, bro, so you're so finagudon, they don't download. That's what they used to tell me. But I would also say, if not because of MSDG, I would not be able to do this free service for them. So this is what we've been doing here. And then the project is done for the face, but we couldn't complete everything. But then I reach out to Gambia Tourism Board as well to make sure we train some of our youths to make sure that they utilize our hotel. Because when you go to the hotels today, all the music you hear and the musicians, they are all foreigners. So in the next phase, this is what I want to continue on. And then this is a quick setup of the studio, as you can see, to make sure I don't run out of time. So some of the materials here are bought by MSDG project, I could say. So this is the setup. From there, we have live band recording as well, where we teach other people to do live recordings. This was the project banner. And then we also have our live bass and guitars and percussions and chorus and the likes. So this is what I've been doing for the past 6 months on behalf of the MSDG. So I would love to say a big thanks to you guys, and I hope to continue working with you guys.
Thank you so much, Mr. Singate there for that brilliant presentation. As you rightly mentioned, you don't have to be taking drugs to be a good musician, or you don't have to be a drunkard to be a good musician. I think you rightly mentioned that music is an industry, is a skill that when you do it professionally, you can get good life and livelihood. And actually in life, there is need for balance. We all sometimes listen to these musics and they send a lot of good messages across. Thank you. Next to come is Professor Aminata Sala. Professor Aminata developed this project, creating market linkages for rural women in the agricultural sector. He's a diasporan from the USA, and we welcome you. The floor is yours, Professor.
Thank you, Dumbe. Dinala Gainde, it's Silla. That's Sala.
Sorry, my apologies. Silla, yes, rightly. Sorry about that, Prof.
That's fine. Thank you so much. Yes. I'll have the team, Ida or Edie, could you please load the PowerPoint? And can you please grant us access to load our PowerPoint, please?
Okay. I think you can share your screen now.
Can you give it to Ida Cisse? She would.
Ida Cisse, okay.
Thank you. So while Ida is doing that, I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Aminata Silla. I am a professor of political science in Maryland, but I'm also the founder of Finance Action for Women, which is It's an organization that's invested in women empowerment, it's invested in education and training. But prior to that, I've been in the space of youth development and youth empowerment for the past 15 years. And as the CEO of Global Youth Innovation Network in Gambia, we call it GYIN, G-Y-I-N. And we have different offices in 15 countries, the Gambia being one of those. And ever since I've been coming and working with young people, the women will always come to me and say, how about us? How about us? So then I decided to start this, as an impact investor, to have like a microfinance organization for women where we give loans out, small loans really, to women, and then move on from there. So Ida and Edie, could you start talking about the project, please? Go ahead, Edie or Ida.
Thank you. Ida, you're welcome. Screen is out and clear.
Okay, greetings everyone. My name is Ida Elbisise. I'm the Secretary General of FAO, with my colleague, Mr. Idris Sanjay, the General Manager, and then also Amin Silla, the CEO of Finance Action for Women. Just like FAO was initiated by Dr. Like normally when she comes on holiday, a lot of women and youth to go to her asking for what can she offer. So then she came up with this initiative of trying to have a microfinance, discuss with Edie, and then I was also put in the picture. So we started working on that. So in 2020, we gave our first loan starting from minimum was 3,000 and maximum was 5,000. The payment terms were monthly. You will come and pay. So with 10% interest. So that was done for the first batch. We did up to 10 batches. Now we've even increased because we also worked on the recommendation up to 20,000. Like those that are second time comers or those that payments are very good because some would even pay before the due date. So coming down to that, then when we saw your proposal, then we also decided to apply. And then fortunately enough, we were given this opportunity to conduct training for 90 women in 3 regions in the Gambia. So Finance Action for Women in partnership with the Migration and Sustainable Development in the Gambia, MSDG, on the 13th of March, commenced training for 90 women in rural Gambia. So the training started in Basse from the 13th to 14th. Each of the regions were giving 2 days. So Basse was done 13th, 14th, and we came to LRR. Basse specifically, we did Kabakama. So what we did is we looked for women groups because it is easier for train and then mobilize groups than individuals. So we worked with the Hunger Free Association in Basse, Kabakama. They have an association. The president is Mrs. Kadijatwa. So we spoke to them before going because we also worked with them with regards to the FAO loan that we used to give. So then we spoke to them about the training because they've also been asking us about training because they are also into horticulture and then they have been facing a lot of post-harvest loss. So once this project came, then we thought of reaching out to them, specifically in Basse. And then they were very pleased to receive us. So once we were in Basse, we did the training 13th and 14th. So initially our target numbers were 30 each region, but then when we went to Basse, it exceeded 30, we had 31. So then we did the training with them. So the process, pepper sauce, and then because they do have this peanut, but now most of the time people will not be able to buy them like in the 5 kilos that they normally sell. So then we decided to help them, we bought some packaging containers that we took for them, where they can have 500 grams containers, 1 kilo containers, 250 gram containers. We will label and that they will be able to sell it at a price that people can buy and be using it on daily basis instead of buying the 5 kilo, which most people could not buy. Poultry also, most of them also are engaged into poultry. So packaging and labeling their poultry also is a problem. And now people really, especially women, we want to go and buy ready meat. So then we help them to dress their birds and then also harvest the packaging. They were trained on portioned packaging and also on hold packaging of the chicken. Like you portion the chicken, you have the wings on one side, and then you also have the legs and the breast on the other side. Those are portion packaging. Then our second point of call was LRR in Jarabarokunda with the Nyabokafo. That too, the president of the association is a member of GENE. And then she has been very helpful with the women in that place. They also engage in horticulture. So when we went to Barakunda, we found out that most of their pepper sauce and the tomatoes, because then it was peak season for pepper sauce, sweet pepper and tomatoes in that area. So before we go, we asked them, what do you think you are going to process? They said these are the ones that are highly perishable, and now we are almost selling them at giveaway price in the market. So we processed pepper sauce with them, and then we also process seasoning sauce with them. So to their surprise, they thought like pepper sauce, the seasoning, which was the green pepper, you could only use it to prepare, could be even turned into a seasoning sauce that you could even reserve for a longer period. So we did this for them, and also they exceeded the number. Instead of 30, we had 32 in LRR, Karabarokunda. Okay. So we also went to James. I'm going fast, you know. I'm not even following the PowerPoint, but then from the fellow, we just go to the specific objectives, and I will go to the last bite that we trained in the West Coast region. But then these were the objectives, of course, to understand how to minimize post-harvest losses, because that has been something that all of them were complaining before we go to them. And also wanted to acquire skills on how to process, package, and label their agricultural produce, and then also to know the different products that has been recommended packaging materials, to create market linkages with many and supermarket owners in their regions, which we also did. During the training, we spoke to some mini and supermarket owners, and then after the training also, we had a forum where we brought together mini market owners and these processors together, and also to know the need of processing, packaging, and labeling for small businesses or startups. So basically, these were the objectives. The impact of the training, like the project has impacted the lives of beneficiaries by helping them to process, preserve highly perishable vegetables like the sweet pepper, the hot pepper, and the tomatoes. So like before the training, they do sell at giveaway prices, like I said earlier. So when, especially when these vegetables are in the boom season. But the packaging and labeling training have helped them process and package their products by adding value and create more viable market. This has also helped them to supply many and supermarket owners in their regions. After the forum as we created a forum between the producers and the mini and supermarket owners, the forum was facilitated by FAO. So the products that were packaged and labeled during the training, we packaged peanut butter. We also did pepper sauce processing and packaging, tomato paste processing and packaging, seasoning sauce, and then poultry chicken packaging. So the number of women that we trained are, like I said, the target was 90, 30 each region. But in URR, we had 31. In LRR, we had 32. And then in West Coast region, we had 30 women that was needed 93.
This part, I think this part is my favorite.
Yes? Can I proceed?
Yes.
Okay. So the challenges, we asked them before we leave. So one of the things they mentioned is limited days for the training. The participants were willing to learn more recipes, but there was limited time due to the funding also as well. So those were some of the challenges we had. And then the number of participants was also large for the class, because it was 30. In some classes we have 31 and some 32. So, and which was 2-time consuming, and it was very difficult, but we managed. Yes, the closing time we schedule was 4, but then we do go up to 6 if we don't finish any particular activity. and the beneficiaries were very willing and participatory during the process. So the recommendations that they gave, the number of days should be increased to accommodate more recipes and products. The number of products participants should be reduced to 10 to 15. Like I said, the number 30 was too large for the trainings. The recipes of all the processing they did were shared with them by the trainers. And then mango jam was not specifically done, but the women in Basse, they asked us to give them the recipe for the mango jam, because when it speaks in for mango jam, there's a lot of mango that presses in Kabakama. So we gave them the recipe for the mango jam for them to be able to process it into jam when it is the season. So these are some of the codes that we received from the beneficiaries. At the end of the training, we select few of them, and then we kind of some of the interview with them. So Umiso said, now we can minimize post-harvest losses and make more profit from our produce. And then Mariam Abba said, I have learned a different method and system. I can sell my product. I learned that we can create business within ourselves. Ramatullah Jalo said, I have never attended such training. I am empowered with skills and knowledge. Janaba Jalo added, this training is to create health and wealth for us, my fellow people. And then our money, this milestone achievement that we have never thought of achieving. And then Bintu Jikine also added her statement and said, this is a lifetime knowledge at our doorstep. So these are tutorials. This feature was in Basse during the opening. Also, this as the pepper sauce for that was processed by the Hunger Free on Homegrown Foods. Those are the Basse women. Okay, this is the beneficiaries peeling tomato before processing it finally. Okay, the lead trainer Tom Senghor sorting the tomatoes with the beneficiaries in Jarabarokunda, that is LRR. We have packaged product in West Coast Region Funi block with the block Kaponga Youth Association. This was the group photo after the official opening in the Foni, West Coast Region, where Ndumbe and Pamsa attended. I hope you are seeing yourselves in the picture. Also, what we did before we started training with them, we do sign contracts with all of them so that for continuity, we don't just want it to die like other projects would come. Once you do the training, you have the skills, you just end it there. So we decided to sign contract with them to give them back ownership so that they can pick it up from where we stopped. So this lady here is the president for the Basse women, Mrs. Khadija Tuba, with Mamadou Idris Sanjay. They signed the contract, and then all the regions that we went also, we signed contracts with all of them. They have a copy, and then we also have a copy. Thank you so much. That's all from me. Edie, if you want to chip in, or Doctor.
Thank you, Ida. And I just want to thank the MSDG project and Chike Partners for this opportunity. This project actually created very good problems because now we get a lot of emails, a lot of calls. I don't know who shared my WhatsApp number, but I'm getting a lot of emails from women couples all over asking, when are you coming to my village? So thank you for the good problem.
Thank you so much, Ida, for that brilliant presentation, and to Prof as well. That's very excellent, creating the linkages between the farmers and the market. I think this is a key gap that is important that you are filling it in. We also thank you for trying to maintain the project by creating sustainability plan, working with key stakeholders to make sure that at the end of the project, they will continue to build on the gain that you've registered. Thank you. So next to present is Dr. Jara Jain project. Dr. Jara Jain is the fellow. The project name is Strengthening the Poultry Value Chain in the Gambia. The presenter for this project today is, I think, is Kebat Dafe or Dr. are you going to present for us? Thank you. Dr. Yahya Jammeh is from the USA, and the sector intervention is agriculture. So thank you, and the floor is yours, Doctor.
Okay, I can share my screen, right?
Yes, you can share your screen. Kindly, I'll end this.
The other person is sharing, still sharing.
Ida, can you kindly end your screen share? Okay, Doctor, go on.
Can you see my screen?
It's not yet up.
Hold on just a minute. Can you see it now?
Yes, it's coming.
Yes, you can. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Very good.
Okay. Oops. I need to go back to the introduction. So my name is Yahya Jammeh, and I teach at Cornell University. I'm a veterinarian, and my specialty is avian diseases, medicine, and pathology. And my project was strengthening the protein value chain in the Gambia. And this was funded, of course, by the MSDG, Diaspora Development Project. And my country partner is Dr. Keba Dafe. And so what I was trying to do was to provide a broad education about poultry production and poultry diseases to as many Gambians as I could, because I know there's a lot of Gambians that are doing poultry production now, but it's very difficult to teach and to be able to do practical stuff with a lot of people. So I was just going to limit it to between 25 to 30 people. And we decided to do it with students at the Gambia College who are enrolled in a certificate course and also in a higher national diploma in animal health. And we also did it with poultry farmers. And I got a request to also, at the end of our project, to work with the Gambia Women's Chamber of Commerce. They have a group called Women in Poultry. And I wish I had known about them before I even started the project, because they were so dynamic. I was able to do a half-a-day training with them. So the project included lectures and practical exercises. I taught them how to do necropsies, which in humans we call autopsies, so that when you open these birds, you can tell what kind of disease they have. And we also added a farm visit. There was a farm that was close by in Abuko where we did it. So I carried out this project from January 9 to 11 for the farmers. It was a 3-day, very intensive, comprehensive training. And from the 12th to the 14th, we had students from the Gambia College, and I did it on January 17 for the GWCC. So what I think we got out of this was improvement of technical skills for all the recipients of this training. We were able to train about a total of 89 people because we added the GWCC. They were trained in various topics, and these ranged from hatchery production. They have to know what goes on at the hatchery to understand how to raise those chicks. So we talked about nutrition, which is always a huge problem in Gambia. If you're using poultry, these improved breeds, you have to feed them special feed. And that is the big problem we have. We don't have feed meals that are able to produce for all the people that are raising poultry. So we'll have to go to Senegal to buy the feed. It's very expensive. It's the number one input into a poultry production unit, and is the most expensive. So we talked with them about financial aspects of poultry production. That is very important. People just jump into raising poultry and they don't think about the profits. They don't think about whether they're making profit. They just raise poultry, kill them and sell them, and they don't do the calculations to see whether they're making a profit, especially because the feed is so expensive. So we brought that in, the financial aspects of the production. Talked about the management of both meat and egg breeds. It's very different. They're totally different. I mean, they're chickens, but let me tell you, they are totally different. The genetics is different, so you don't treat them the same. We had disease identification diagnosis. We talked about avian influenza, which is very important disease. Newcastle is the most common disease in the Gambia and in most of the tropics. Talked about waste management. What are you going to do with all the manure that these birds are creating? We talked about composting so that we can use that as fertilizer. Talked about biosecurity measures. How are you going to keep diseases out of your farm? Talked about all the different measures, simple things like changing footwear when you go into the chicken coops. And then we did the practical exercises. I had brought like the scissors that we needed. We got some donations of chickens from one of the big farms. And when we opened up these birds, they were able to see so many different kinds of diseases in these birds. And that was, I think, the highlight of this training. Especially the young people from the Gambia College, they loved it. They're like, wow, I wish we could be doing this all the time. We don't even do this at the college. And we didn't have a real laboratory, so we did it outside, but it worked. So you have to improvise. So we also, I like to include visits to egg production farms when I do these types of trainings. I've done it in many parts of the world. And then I asked them to fill out program evaluation forms for me. So I think by the end of this training, we had created quite a familiarity with a wide range of poultry production and disease topics based on the evaluation that I got back.
And the teacher, Mr. Osman.
Hello?
Kindly proceed. I'm looking for who the intruder is.
Oh, okay. Someone's mic is on. Okay. And we were able to create, I think, a more cohesive poultry group among farmers and students post-training, but the students seem to be working a lot better than the farmers. The farmers kind of a little bit behind, but I'm really proud of GWCC women. They have a WhatsApp group, and I'm on that WhatsApp group, and they're constantly coming in, asking questions about their birds, and we discuss things. In fact, I'm going to be posting an interview I did for a WhatsApp group for my family, my paternal family for Senegal and Gambia. We're both in both countries. So I did an interview with them about avian influenza in Wolof. So I'm going to be posting that for them, sharing it with them, and also share with our poultry farmers, but they're not kind of moving as fast as the women. Continued communications, I just talked about that. We're constantly talking about diseases. They're sending me photos of their birds when they have problems. And I kind of tell them, you know, just from seeing the pictures, what I think it is. And the one thing I really liked about this training, it highlighted avian influenza so much that when we have had avian influenza in Gambia, like last month, I got on the WhatsApp groups to alert these poultry farmers And we talked about all the biosecurity measures. We had talked about in the training, what they needed to do to keep it out of their farms. Luckily, the avian influenza was just in wild birds. It did not get into any farms, but they did a really good job of keeping it out. Who knows? Maybe if they had not done the biosecurity, they could have had some serious problems. And it's a disease that just kills like 100% of the chickens. So these are the program participants. We have the farmers there on my right. I'm there with Dr. Keba Dafe. And then we had the students. Both groups were very enthusiastic and very engaged. And then some of the women, the GWCC women in poultry, not all of them were able to take the photo. Some had to leave, but this was at the end. And I'm just showing some photos here of the students here doing a necropsy lab. We're doing it right there outside, just pulled some tables together and we put some plastic, and put it over the tables and opened up the birds. I had brought the scissors, the shears from the US. This is the visit to the farm because of biosecurity that I was teaching. I told them we couldn't get inside the farm itself. So we stood outside and looked at the chickens and we asked the farmer a lot of questions and provided some of his questions. Also, he had questions about some of the stuff that he was doing. And then we gave them certificates at the end. I wish we had more time for me to show you some of those photos, but this is the certificate we gave them, and very important for the students and also for the farmers. Just giving them this certificate of completion adds to their resume or their CV. So we in total trained about 89 both students and farmers. We had 31 established farmers and only 2 were women. I was very disappointed with that one. Then we had students from Gambia College. We had more women there, total of 29. And the GWCC, all women. They were like 30 women. And 65 out of the 89 came from rural areas. They were studying at Gambia College and they lived like outside Brikama. Some people came actually from CRR to attend, some of the farmers. And then we had like 24 out of 89 beneficiaries. We use the funds for a lot of different things, Gambia, I don't really like this catering thing that we do when we have meetings and had to pay people for transportation, all that. It's okay. I mean, people are suffering sometimes, but it just takes away from your energy and so on to do these projects. But anyway, there's a lot to still add up and I will have that everything for my final report. And the challenges, just the basic infrastructure. We didn't have audiovisual equipment for a couple of hours. We had to go around looking for audiovisual equipment because the veterinary director had locked his up in his office and had gone on trek. So getting lab space for the lab component, I would have loved to put everyone in a lab and not have to do it outside. I think some of the farmers needed help filling out evaluations. So the evaluations did not come back. There were not many that came back from them. We had more from the students. We needed extra time for administrative duties, But I think the opportunities for poultry production are huge in the Gambia. The production is still very low levels. We need to increase local production, but before we increase local production, I think we need more education. We had, requests coming in from so many people to do this for them. I think the need is so great. I would love to do this more and more and more if I can afford it, come back to Gambia and do it again, because there was just so many people that have been left out that were not part of this. So the need for the knowledge is just so huge. And using various forms of media, I think, can help with disseminating information, because what I did with the avian influenza, I got a lot of positive replies. You know, people were just calling me and saying, oh, this is really great. We should have it on the radio, because people really don't know what avian influenza is. It will be good for those who do not speak English, especially because I did it in Wolof. We can have someone translate it into Mandinka or Pul. And so I would like to thank MSDG DDP for providing the funding, and Dr. Keba Dafe was very helpful. It was my in-country partner, and then the Department of Livestock Services director and staff helped a lot by giving us the facilities for free for the classrooms and the tables that we needed to do the lab. So I know it's very short. I wish I could have talked for 1 hour, but that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Yahya Jammeh, for that brilliant presentation. And thanks for the capacity development in increasing chicken production in the Gambia, which is key in supporting the nutrition of the population. Thank you also for the sustainability plan. So I would like to call on Dr. Omar Jane, fellow. Hello. Yes, DDF fellow supporting the Sika Community Health Clinic. Dr. Jane is from the UK, and he is coming to give us a brief presentation.
Okay, no problem. I'm gonna work.
Thank you. Welcome, Dr.
Hello, I hope you can see my screen. This is Omar. I'm talking to you from London. I teach at St. George's Medical School. My partner on this project is Kemo Sonko. I think he's in the is on this meeting. Now, as Madam Sao said, the project is Sika Community Healthcare Project, and Sika is in the North Bank. And I just want to tell you a little bit about the project, particularly just to introduce the project to you. So the presentation overview is to introduce it and also to tell you about the outputs and impacts of the project and give you facts and figures, challenges and opportunities, and perhaps next steps where we are going forward. Now, the project is part of a broader ambition of Sika Development Fund, an organization that was set up about roughly 8 years ago to 9 years ago by like-minded people of Sika, and now is grown into a global force, if I may put it that way. Now, healthcare is one of the core objectives of Sika Development Fund. And we provide this at the moment in a household in Sika. Our big ambition really is to move this to our site, which you can see in the photo on the right-hand side. And this is where MSDG and GK partners have really come in at the right time. You can see what it looked like before and what it will look like later on. And if you have the time, I may show you those, or you can look at some of the things that I've embedded in this presentation. So when we had the opportunity to apply for this, and as I said, this project in terms of providing healthcare in the village, as we all know, healthcare is a major problematic area in the Gambia, particularly in rural Gambia, where Sika is no stranger to be one of those, located on the Hakalang Road. Now, our objective when we came to applying for this is to set out our intention to take running water to this site. The nearest water supply is probably 500 to 600 meters away, which will make other ambitions that we have for the site problematic. The second objective is to try to fence the place, because as you can see, currently this is where the baby clinic, which is part of the government's initiative, is held. And you can see that is not quite a pretty sight. And in rainy season, you have a lot of grass and shrubs, and it's more like a mini forest. Now, we raised a bit of money for this initially, but we knew we needed more in order to do what we wanted. So our fundraising effort continued. So the DDF grant, which we applied for in June 2022, and received the award, to our pleasant surprise, in 2022, was $300,000. And as I said, because this is an important ambition of Sika Development Fund, we actually started this work using some of the resources we had raised ourselves. And this is village work at its best, community participation. So this was before we had running water. So the women folks were very, very helpful in bringing water to the site. And you can see a lot of community participation and at its best happening. This created an opportunity for the youths to learn the trade of making cement and being watched by those who have done this before. We had a brilliant guy there called Malan Njane, who was really instrumental in seeing this project through. So prior to the awarding of the contract, we had made over 7,000 blocks, and you can see. And you can also see some of the youths making block and being supervised. Now that is critical for what I'm going to show you. And excuse me for showing you this, because I think it's important. So this is prior to the awarding of the contract, as you can see on the screen, but also this is really one of the ongoing work that is happening. So these people have been skilled, and thankfully to the sponsors, which we are immensely grateful and indebted to DDF, MSDG, and GK partners for enabling this. This is really fantastic. So I'll tell you more about this as we go forward. Now, let me just go back. If you look at this site, you can see there is a lot of trees in this area. This is during the rainy season, around July, August period. A lot of trees, which we had to clear once the funds were released. And we paid for that, and you can see at this stage, a lot of the blocks that were made during the rainy season, you can see them in the photos. This is a baobab tree, which we really don't have any intention to fell, because these are becoming a resourceful, hugely resourceful tree. So we want to keep this within the premises if we can help it. So outputs and impacts of the project. Now we measured this against the objectives that we had set for the project. And just to remind you, is to bring running water to the site. The village already has a borehole, but the nearest water source over 500 meters away. So that creates problems for what we wanted to do. And of course, the second objective is shown there, and I've talked to you about that before, in terms of helping to fence the site so that whatever we want to do there can be contained and protected so that this place is secure. Against those objectives, we feel that our objective to bring running water to the site has been achieved. We collaborated with the VDC to make this happen. So you can see this stand pipe in situ there, and it's next to the small building which the women use as a waiting area for the building that is next to it. This is referring you to the earlier slide I showed you. In terms of the second objective, we are very happy to tell you that we have actually completed this project. You can see the gate, and there is a door, I think to the right of this image, and you can see the baobab tree in the background there. Now, if you click on these, which I don't want to take too much of your time, hopefully Ndumbe and Pamusa will upload this. They have our permission to do this, but if you click on these, you'll be able to see the activities that are going on there, because this doesn't really do it justice in terms of the whole area. It's about 42 by 75 meters in terms of the size of the plot. So this is what we want to show you. Now, in terms of the impact, really, it gives us a lot of pleasure to share this with you. We believe, because evidence speaks for itself, that it elevated the lives through the income it generated for many who worked on the project. And these are people, some of whom came from the urban areas, because the contractor at the time was in the urban areas working. And I'll talk about that briefly. But also some of the workers were recruited in the village itself. As I showed you earlier, it developed skills, block making, and at the moment, using the resources that we had initially raised, within 2 months or so, it's provided up to $80,000 worth of income for those youths that I showed you in the previous slide, and that work is continuing. So if you click on some of these videos, you will see inside the premises the work that is going on there as we speak. It established or introduced us to new people and contacts. Now, this is really wonderful. You need people to be able to do things, and to be able to have the opportunity to be introduced to new contacts and people is really wonderful, and we are very grateful for that. So it's deepened and strengthened relationships, which we need overall. It also boosted, as I said, collaboration with the VDC, that's the Village Development Committee members, and really increased the spirit of community participation. Now, the last 2 points, we are not being modest to say this. We really mean this. It helped to refine our capacity for project implementation, monitoring, and evaluation. It is very, very difficult to work across continents, particularly in rural Gambia, where various things make it very, very challenging indeed, because the partner is based in the Greater Banjul area, working at the GRA. So we needed people on the ground, and something that I want to tell you about that in terms of the challenges that posed. It's been a good learning point for me. My job, in my job, I do a lot of stuff to do with research and so on. And when you are working on the ground and everything is around you, it seems very, very easy. The wheels of the university system turn pretty well. But I think overall, I'm speaking for the leadership team here of Sika Development Fund, for which I'm grateful to serve as the president. My time is coming to an end in September or so. But I think it increased our confidence and resilience, particularly when we come across challenges and barriers. We have to be innovative and be nimble and flexible to try and overcome those. So that's been really a real privilege, for which we are very grateful to have had the opportunity to sign. In terms of the facts and figures, now again, we want to measure this or report this against the grant that was awarded. Again, this is the least we expect to be asked to do. So at various points during this project implementation stage, we had to pay for various things. So you can see this list is pretty comprehensive. Now, we're not asking for DDF and MSDG to ask for some money back, but at the moment, if we are to pay for everything that we need to pay for, and at least there is one thing that we need to pay for, which is the uprooting of the stumps. Now, one of the trees slides that I showed you, you will see quite a lot of tree stumps within the compound, which actually is not part of the DDF objective, but we are removing those. At the moment, we have about $3,400 to pay to remove the remaining stumps. Now, if we pay that out, we will have exactly $3,548 left over of the $3,000 that we asked for and that you awarded. So we are on target. We've submitted our internal report. We'll be very happy to submit our final report anytime you asked of it. Now, in terms of the challenges, there has been a delay in awarding the contract. Some of that is, I suppose, by design. We do not regret that. That's because we wanted to ensure that we create a competitive spirit. So when it came to awarding the contract to fence the compound, we made it competitive. So we opened bids, and that obviously can create delays. You have to translate into the various languages and so on and so on. And even when the contract was awarded, and my brother participated in this, so I had to remove myself from the selection team and so on. That took some time because the contractor was in the Greater Banjul area, and the work has to be done in Sika. So there was a bit of delay there, even when the contract was awarded. By the time he started, there was a bit of a delay. There were difficulties in effecting payments, as some of the people we were working with did not have bank accounts, and we knew that we had to report. We knew that it's important that we reported how we spend the money. So we wanted to evidence some of these transactions using, to the best of our knowledge, legitimate receipts and so on. So that has been challenging. So we had to be innovative, particularly the work that was done by my partner. He has this disbursement sheet, which is really has been very helpful in allowing us to record some of this. Still, there were others that we could not capture, and I think DDF would be more than happy to be flexible in that area, and they've been flexible certainly with the internal report, because there were times when we needed people to load cement and or transport them to Sika. They don't carry receipt books and so on, so or the donkey carts and so on. So valid ID cards was also a slight challenge again. Communication between myself and the partner and the people in Sika can be challenging at times. Now, water supply in Sika can be sometimes a little bit challenging. To be self-reliant, or at least the clinic to be reliant on its own water supply. So there is need for regular.
Hello, Dr. Jammeh. I think your line is dropping. Hello, Doctor. It seems we are not getting him. We lost him. Thank you so much for the brilliant presentation. We are almost happy. Hello, Doctor. I think for the benefit of time, we will proceed, and maybe he can come on in the question and answers to finish up if he needs to do so. I would like to call on Professor Jibril Fall to come and give us a heads up here. Thank you, Prof. You're welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Ndumbe. I'm just intervening more around time management. For many of us on this call, I think we're all equally excited to hear for the first time what the different fellows are doing. Of the 5 presentations we've had, I've had the opportunity to visit 2 of them. Oh, Omar is
I'm
back.
so sorry. I lost network. Can you hear me?
Yes, Omar,
hello, yes.
Kindly conclude, yes.
Yes, I'm concluding now. Sorry about that. I lost network there. So in terms of opportunities, as I said, the increased visibility and also created ideas and confidence. We are now also trying to seek funding for the Sika Horticultural Women's Project. This is where we are now. We are working with the relevant institution in the Gambia to develop this plan, and this is the first plan of the site that we have, because we want to make sure that this clinic is up and running as soon as we possibly can. So in terms of acknowledgements, again, GK Partners, the Swiss Corporation, NSDG, we are really, really grateful to you guys. My partner and our eyes and ears and everything in the village, Mr. Malamin Jane, the contractor, Mr. Sindhu, and his team, the members of SDF and the people of Sika, and friends and supporters of SDF, and the block makers at the compound at the moment, Mr. Omar Mane and his team. Finally, I thank you all for giving me the time, and I'm sorry about the interruption there. I hope I've not lost you along the way too much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jammeh, for that brilliant presentation. And Thank you for the community development initiative that you've been taking in meeting the SDGs at individual community level. Thank you. And I would like to call on Professor Jibril Fall to just give us some heads up about time management. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Ndombe, and thank you, Dr. Jammeh. In fact, your project is one that I had the good fortune to visit whilst I was in Gambia in January. I was saying that we're all so excited to hear of the magnificent different projects that the diaspora are running. Many of us, this is the first time we've heard of them. I know that usually MSDG events, we almost never run overtime, but I'm looking at the clock, and in terms of the advertised time, we only have 30 minutes. But I think it is important to proceed with all of the presentations for no other reason that we have it on record, because our good friends, Eyeafrica TV, are live streaming it, and more importantly, it would be a record so that the many thousands who are not with us now would be able to view it. We'll ask your indulgence for you to stay on the call to hear the other presentations. As you know, we have 44 active projects, but we will only hear about 10 more to go. And I don't even want to interfere too much with the detail. All the presentations have been very disciplined answering the question. So if you don't mind, I would ask that perhaps we stay with the presentation on your list. Second is just to remind everybody to kindly mute your microphones, and only when you are called on to speak, you put it on. And when you are speaking, if you are not sharing your screen, PowerPoint, then kindly put your video on. So, I understand it's better television for Eyeafrica. That's what they tell us. So, Dupe, I hand back to you for you to continue with the list. Thank you. Ndumbe, your microphone is still muted.
Thank you so much, Professor Jibril Fall. I will straight and call on Usman Pa Diouf.
Thank you very much, Ndumbe, Dr. Fall, and everybody on this call today. Greetings. My name is Usman Diouf. I am the founder and global coordinator of Gambian Talents Promotion, which is, of course, an entity that I established with Mr. Ikunjai in 2006. And in 2017, we opened an office in the Gambia, and our mandate is to tap, nurture, and promote Gambian talents and culture, while, of course, educating the masses through those talents. Our biggest achievement has been a multimedia training or internship program that I am happy to announce here that for the past 5 years, we have trained about 600. Never had any official partners to do this. Been working helter-skelter to try to provide this for the young people. I'm sorry, I got notice there that my internet was unstable. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, but maybe you can lose the video.
Okay. All right. Yeah, sorry. Yes. Okay. All right. Yes. So we have trained over 500 young people, and I am happy to say that almost virtually every media house in the Gambia right now have products or byproducts of Gambian talents, from the mainstream media to the online platforms. And our training is targeted primarily, targeting young people who don't typically have the opportunity to further their education, school dropouts. those that have been through the back way or engaged in irregular migration and were deported, or they came back by themselves voluntarily. We also target students of madrasas who, of course, would typically have loved to pursue a career in multimedia and they don't have the opportunity. These are the young people that we target that cannot go to college or university, either because their parents cannot afford to pay for them, their families, or they, of course, don't have the academic requirements. Now, for the purpose of this GKP partnership, we were very delighted to receive this funding. As I reiterated earlier, we have never received any source of funding for this or partnership. So this project came very handy because it gave us an opportunity to not charge the young people anything. We've been doing it for free of charge. But at some point, I had to ask them to buy the forms, to pay for the cost of the production of their press cards, and other things that, of course, were basic necessities to get the project going. Since we started the project, a lot of young people, we took about 30 young people. Until last year, we've cut the number down to 10 because that is the capacity we could have at every point in time. But through this partnership, we were able to take about 30 different young people who we gave the opportunity to actually learn multimedia related skills from graphic design, web design, computer maintenance and repair, journalism, photography, editing, video editing, and camera operation. And the young people are very happy for the project. I am actually trying to share my screen here. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Sorry, let me stop the share and go back to the image here. I know for the sake of time, we want to. This right here is a picture of myself and about 24 young people who came to visit the office because they are aware of them here. They are all past interns that came through. All these young people came to Gambian Talents as school dropouts, or they belong to one of the categories that I say. Each and every one of them are now employed working at different institutions. This picture was one of those. This is one of the badges of the interns. You can see these are all young people, some of them operating cameras and journalists. Just for the sake of time, that's why I am doing this. Not only, I mentioned a few areas in which we intervene in. Producing quality content is one of the key problems that this country has, and we are making a concerted effort to teach the young people some of these skills. Not only are they learning the video production and stuff, but pre-production, production, and the post-production stages. What you see on the screen for the most part may end up being a 30-minute video, but the amount of work that goes into that is enormous. And in this picture at the bottom, you can see the young people setting up for a show that was supposed to come up at one time, and these are interns. So not only do they learn the camera operation, but they learn how to set. I mentioned graphic design and web design. These are web design interns, of course, who learn how to do, how to make basic HTML websites. And I am happy to say that, in fact, this is the group that actually work on the current website that we are utilizing. This is Lamin MCZ. He was an intern himself. And the particular batch we are talking about that was funded by the MFTG project, Lamin actually was one of the instructors. So you imagine somebody that came from the village. He came from Dobo in CRR. Came to Gambian Talents, got the skills. Right now, he's one of our employees, and he was the one that was actually teaching. And this particular class was, reporting on court reporting, etc. So you can see Lamin there doing presentation. These young people that never had the skills, that's Ibrahim Asanyang shooting a music video for one of the Gambian artists, Nyancho and his dancers. And Sanyang, of course, was one of the beneficiaries of this project. You can see the young lady here with a big smile, never had access to, holding a camera. Now they can operate this. They are learning to operate these cameras, or we've taught them the basic skills. Lighting is very important in anything you do. This was a music video we were shooting with the Gambian music legend, Jaliba Kuyate, and you can see the young man there, holding the lights, and of course he was learning about lighting. The Gambian talents, if you follow our platform, you see us going to the length and breadth of the country. You can see how dusty this young woman's scarf is on her head and our cameras. This was during the campaign last year that she followed the presidential entourage when some of those things were happening, when the president was going around the country to actually do a tour, to campaign for, I think it was the local government election, I believe. This was one of those, and this happened that time. This picture you are seeing was yesterday. We organized, since the internship ended, every year we organize a get-together for the students, the interns, and the staff of the institution. This was at the Labor beach in Fajara yesterday. That's myself and the interns there just having a good time. One of our success stories, of course, also a beneficiary to this project. She is now, not only did she learn the skill and is working as an employee of Gambian Talents, not only did she learn the skill and is working as an employee of Gambian Talents, but Musu happened to have, through her work and the things that she's doing, we attach her to the State House, working with the presidential entourage and other big political events that were happening. And through that, she met her current husband and is now happily married and doing the things. Of course, post-production is very important, and live streaming. I had the fellow that spoke right before me mention how this event is being live streamed by Eyeafrica TV. Some of the things that we do at Gambian Talent is also live streaming. So you can see Miss Amidiba there, Masanyang, and others live streaming one of the events there. So this is an opportunity that we also got to learn. To show you guys this, you can see Ibrahim Asanya there shooting, and they've been interviewed. Aizatu Ture now works with the Gambia Radio and Television Services, and Kadi Ture works with thing is called Kairaba News Network. And these are all young people that never had access to, these skills, and they learned it all from Gambian Talents. To show you how rough it can be, these are our interns that actually were going across the length and breadth of the country, and you can see how dusty they were. This was all during events. This was in Senegal. Not only do we impact it in Gambia here, this intern actually now works for the Eyeafrica TV that we are talking about. This was during one of the court hearings of Ajisar and Usman Sonko in Senegal. We send him there as an intern to actually go and cover that event. So just to show you, live streaming there. Sheriff now, not only is he doing the journalism, but he was able to secure employment with Gambian Talents and my office in the United States, the Washington West African Center. Sheriff Conte is another success story because he is a madrasa student that is interested to pursue a career in multimedia. He was not able to have that opportunity until this internship came to him. He participated in it, and because of his dedication, passion, and willingness to learn, eventually I'm able to hire him, and he is the desk officer of the Washington West African Center at Gambian Talents. So thanks to this partnership, we are able to do this. A couple of days ago, I was attending a training that was organized by the Gambia Media Council and the Gambia Press Union, and this young lady you are seeing is now a manager or head of, and this training was for CEOs or media chiefs in the country. I went there to represent Gambian Talents, and this young lady was there representing as the manager of one of the news networks that she's managing now. And I was very happy to see that somebody that we train is actually sitting at the same table with me representing another media platform. That was quite suiting for me. For the sake of time, I'll just show you guys some slides. I mentioned the back where returnees. Musa Jine was in Algeria and did a few of the Arab countries as a back way. Somebody that went to the back way. Of course, last year when we did the graduation of some of the interns, you can see Musa was one of the beneficiaries who actually learned media. He was passionate about it and never had the opportunity. He came with a raw talent, and we refined him and eventually trained him on the principles of journalism, presentation, and media work, and you can see him receiving a certificate there. I just want to show you guys some of the pictures here and would allow the other presenters to actually go on. Thank you very much, and I will be happy to answer any questions. Finally, I want to say that Gambian Talents has now become a trusted training institution. Last year, too, the trainings we had in the past 5 years, we did not have accreditation, but I'm happy to inform you that from late last year, we were accredited by the National Accreditation Authority, NACA, and we are now an official training institution, and Gambia government, parastatals, and other institutions are now sending their people to come and learn multimedia related skills from us. The young lady you are seeing is a sergeant in the Gambia Armed Force, and she was there as an intern. We have the police sending people, the NIA and other institutions from the Gambia government who are now sending us, their staff to come and learn multimedia related skills. And I'm very happy to receive this funding because we never had it. It enabled us to be able to get a lot more people into it, because you imagine from 10 to 30 young people, that was a big gap. We are able to do that and buy some equipment because of this funding and take care of some of the logistics that were needed. So thank you to GK Partners for the opportunity, and we look forward to continuing to partner with you in terms of doing this. Space is our biggest challenge, in addition to the resources that are needed to empower these young people. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Pa Osman, for that excellent presentation, and in also supporting young people needed for their life and livelihood. So I would like to call on to the next presenter. Would like to call on Dudu Jam. Dudu Jam is a DDF fellow in the USA. His project is in the agricultural sector, and he is coming to tell us about the rearing of chicks.
Recording in progress.
Thank you so much, Yam. Welcome, Mr. Jam. I think Mr. Jam is away. I would like to call on to the next presenter. Mr. Jam will come back. Internet, yes. Omar Nimbalan. Omar Nimbalan is in China. He's also venture in the agriculture sector, a year-round village farming project. Is not in. Okay, thank you. I understand he also is not in yet. We'd like to call on Yusuf Tello. Yusuf Tello is also in the Gambia, in the media, and he is supporting Gambia parliamentary newsletter. Yes, that's the project for Yusuf Tello. Yusuf Tello, if you are in and ready, the floor is yours.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, fantastic. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Yusuf Taylor. I am the editor for Gynaco Online News. Also the editor for the Gambia Parliamentary Newsletter. So just to introduce myself.
Yusuf, kindly speak a bit louder. Yusuf, kindly speak a bit louder.
Okay, can you hear me now? Is it better?
Yes.
Okay. I'll try to speak louder. So, just to first of all introduce myself, my name is Yusuf Taylor, as I said. I'm a Gambian who was living in the UK and returned back home in 2018, and then formed Gynaco here in the country. We've been operating as a diaspora media outlet. So with GPN, which is the Gambia Parliamentary Newsletter, we report on parliamentary issues to make sure the vision of the parliamentary newsletter is to bring a National Assembly which is more responsive to the needs of the Gambian people. And the way we do so is we ensure that we go and report about what is happening in Parliament. We talk to the electorates, that is the Gambian people, to find out how their parliamentarians are performing and to find out what they want their parliamentarians to also do for them in Parliament. So I would have loved to have delivered a presentation, which I do have, but unfortunately, it's not with me right now. I can send it to the DDF soon after this when I arrive home. But what we've done is we've issued over 7 editions of the Gambia Parliamentary Newsletter. This is like a newspaper which you can download on your mobile phone free of charge, which we print and we give to National Assembly members themselves. So far, we have issued 7 editions. We have another edition which is about to come out, the State of the Nation, which the President delivered. We will be monitoring the debates, the robust debates that will be starting from Wednesday, where we will be coming together. As soon as that session is over, we will publish a State of the Nation address newsletter. We've also published the AKI, Acute Kidney Injury newsletter, because Parliament was looking into the death of some 70 children. And what our newsletter did, we got hold of the report. We were in Parliament where Ministry of Health was reporting, where MCA was reporting, and we were there and we wrote all about these things that was happening, monitoring the process in Parliament. And we made sure we also got in touch with the victims, the family members who are also grieving their children who they have lost. Those are 2 of our recent editions, which we have come out with. In the pipeline right now, we have the anti-corruption edition, which is coming up, which highlights the progress of the anti-corruption bill in the Gambia, in the National Assembly, which is almost in its last stages. So we have, not only will we be writing about the anti-corruption bill, but highlighting efforts that the National Assembly has been taking to bring corruption into check. Some of you may remember that Parliament did at one point highlight that there were a number of people who had to return unpaid interest to their various ministries. And Parliament has a list of those people who are supposed to pay back those monies. So what we are doing as journalists is to follow that, and we are going to bring all of those things in to highlight the work that is going in with regards to that the parliamentarians are doing to combat corruption. Looking at the finance side, we are very grateful for the financial support from MSDG, without which we wouldn't have been able to get to where we are. We have had about 10 journalists working with us from various media houses. GPN is not just a Gynaco initiative. We have journalists working with different newspapers like Foroya newspaper, Point newspaper, and we bring these journalists to work with us so that when they are reporting in Parliament for their newspaper, they are also working with us in GPN. That way, we have more information and we have a platform for journalists to collaborate. Out of these 10, 2 of them are in rural Gambia. They travel and come back. Their family is based in rural Gambia, but they are based here to work for these newspapers as we're talking about. With regards to finances, this was up to December, and we are in the midst of doing our final appraisal so that we can when we conclude, we will submit that. Up as of December, when we were interim, we raised about $1,000 is support. That is through various services. If you go right now, we have a portal on Gainaku, which once you go to www.gainaku.com/GPN, you will be able to download all the editions. We had a computer engineer design a web portal specific for GPN, where everybody can download every single edition. You can also monitor how many editions have been downloaded, and you can see videos of the activities which we are doing. So in-kind support includes works which we did not sort of pay any money for. These are works with journalists. We task them. Some of them, they done videos. We go out there, we do interviews, video interviews, we edit them, and then we publish them. And some more work which we've done from other journalists, as I've already highlighted, we created a web portal. Some of these things are all in kind. And we've also received financial support of just over 60,000 to help match our first edition. So we are roughly around at 40,000 behind. But being the kind of initiative which we are doing, it's not business focused. We are hopefully trying to move towards the point where we will have subscribers that can subscribe to this parliamentary newsletter. And in so doing, we will be able to make it sustainable, where we raise funds so that that fund could also be used to sustain it in the long term. And you can see on the screen, that is our second edition right now, where we have tried to make sure that the parliamentarians are known. In our first two editions, that's what we focused on. Who are these parliamentarians? What is their experience? Which party are they from? Is this their first term? Is this their second term? And we highlight a lot of different things. One of the things which we have really taken up is the Constituency Development Fund. And if we have the right support, we'll be able to take this further. The Constituency Development Fund is a $300,000, which sounds very similar to what we are doing at MSDG. Every year, Parliament gives elected representatives, elected, not nominated. They give them $300,000, not in cash, not to their hand, but to their contractor who they identify, to organize activities, to organize development initiatives. We are making sure the Gambian people, they are aware of it, so that they can engage their parliamentarians and that they can bring projects which would also be sustainable. That way, even if one parliamentarian finishes their term, another parliamentarian comes. And we know what happens in politics. Once somebody comes in, somebody else new comes in, they say, oh, that project was bad. We are going to do things this way. No. Let there be continuity. If you look at it, in a year, one parliamentarian will take, will have 1.5 million for 5 years, for the full 5 years. So that's 300,000 times 5, which is a lot of money. So one thing which we have been doing and which we want to do going forward, if we get the right support, is to make sure we hold town hall meetings where we bring parliamentarians, we go to their constituents, we bring their electorates and have them discuss about this Constituency Development Fund. What is the best project that they would like? What would be the most sustainable? What is the gap that government is not doing, that international donors are not doing, that they can come in? If we get the right support, we would like to bring these parliamentarians to sit together with even these donors so that they can discuss their different areas of intervention. And in so doing, there will not be overlaps of areas where they are investing this money. Talking about our challenges, which we have faced, I'm sure many will not, many will highlight these type of challenges. Finance. Finance is one of our limitations. Why? We would love to hold radio programs. According to a survey done by Afrobarometer, 80% of Gambians are listening to the radio. Most Gambians, radio is the most accessible form of people getting information. So we believe for us to take this onto the next level, we will need to go to the radios, to speak in local languages, not just to write in English and publish it online, because we feel that it is very important for the Gambian people to understand on a local level just exactly what some of these things are, the existence of the Constituency Development Fund. There are many things. The Women's Enterprise Fund is there for women to benefit from, but are the people aware of it? So these are the things that we want to really, hopefully, move on to with. We currently have a Facebook page, which you can go and check, Gambia Parliamentary Newsletter. We have a Twitter page. You can go there and you can check GPN. We also have a Instagram page, and we plan to open up a TikTok page so that we can appeal to the younger generation as well.
Yes.
So, I know time is of the essence, but I think I would also plead with MSDG to really keep this initiative going with regards to not just for GPN, but for the diaspora that are back home and that are working with their Gambian counterparts. And we do hope that we get to that level where we can keep this going for the full 5-year term of the National Assembly members, so that more and more Gambians are aware, they get involved in the development initiatives that are happening, they are connected with their parliamentarians, and they are able to do a lot more than they are doing right now. Thank you very much. Very pleased and grateful to have you invite me on this panel.
Thank you so much for that brilliant presentation. It was definitely indeed great, demonstrating the importance of information, not only to the diaspora, but to the Gambians as a whole, especially about how our parliamentarians are serving us. Thank you so much. I would like to call on to the next presenter, and that is Seinabu Cham. Seinabu Cham is from Norway, and he is also supporting the health sector. Her project is the construction of the maternity hospital. You're welcome, Seinabu.
Samba Jao will speak on behalf of the Diaspora Club. Pasamba, voices.
Okay. Thank you, Pasamba. Thank you. Welcome.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. From my end, let me just share my screen. My name is Pasamba Jao, and I am here representing the Diaspora Club. The Diaspora Club is an organization of Gambians in the diaspora, which was formulated in 2017 upon the return of democratic constitutional rule, when all of us desired to give back to our country. Gambians in the diaspora came together from this group, went back, and decided that, you know what, we'll have fun whilst giving back. And in 2017, the Diaspora Club visited the children's ward at the Sir Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital, and saw the dilapidated nature of that hospital, and decided that, you know what, we can do better. And after spending over 1.5 million Gambian dollars, they were able to refurbish the children's ward. Hence, the picture that you see. And the Gambia government, through the Minister of Health, the Department of Health, decided to name the pediatric ward the Diaspora Club Pediatric Ward. The Diaspora Club continued to work because its mind was pricked by this idea. Like King said, the most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? And we decided, you know what, we are not going to stop at only helping at the hospitals. We're going to look at institutions or people that are marginalized. We went to the prisons. Blankets, get sanitary stuff for women prisoners, to donate to them so that at least they will be able to live a dignified life whilst incarcerated. And coming back to the pediatric ward, not only did we refurbish it, we stocked it with everything that it needed, from beddings to oxygen tanks, to uniforms for the workers there, and everything. And the goal has always been to help and maintain it. Of course, we cannot run it. We'll have to turn it over to government for maintaining it, and we'll give back. As we speak, we're engaged in a project because given the high infant mortality rate in our country, the high rate of childbirth for women, our sisters, our mothers, we decided, you know what, we can do something as an organization, as a people. And we are going to bring healthcare closer to the people so that they don't have to ride on donkey carts to go to maternity wards around the country. So our objective and our goal is to build maternity wards in all communities in that country. Is it a high task, a difficult task? Yes, it is. But it is only difficult when you don't try. And as we speak now, we are working in collaboration with the Ministry of Health to build a maternity ward in Jammeh village. It's in Nyanija district, in CRR. And we are working on costing it because we want to build it to standards according to the dictates of the Ministry of Health, the Department of Health, so that we'll be able to help this community of people, which, according to our estimation, will benefit about 25,000 people. And we believe that with every little thing that we do, we'll eventually achieve the goal of providing healthcare to our people. Like they said, a healthy nation is a wealthy nation. And the Gambia being a very youthful country, the population of maybe about anywhere between 65% of the population being young people, of course the women. We believe that let's provide them the opportunity so that we'll be able to at least nurture our young. You'll be born healthy, provided with the healthcare that they need, that we will all come together to be able to build a Gambia that we desire, a Gambia of prosperity and a Gambia of development. So this is what we are engaged in. And in the interest of time, I'm not going to keep you long, but to also thank MSDG, who also understanding the challenges that our country faced after the change, decided to go and work with government to help to bring a Gambia of sanity. And we are grateful that they are partnering with organizations like the Diaspora Club, so that we, as a people, will be able to achieve our goal of the Gambia, like I said, that we desire and yearn for. With that, I thank you so very much for this opportunity and look forward to answering any questions that you may have. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much, Samba, for that brilliant presentation. Reflecting on the diversity of the DDF intervention, and also thank you for thinking about us women, especially the challenges that we go through at the maternity ward. Thank you so much. I would like to call on the next presenter, and this is Ms. Jane Abel-Thomas. Jane Abel-Thomas is in the Gambia, but the presenter for this will be Momodou Salou Diallo, will present on behalf of the Culinary Training Institute. That is also a support that they are DDF fellows and the Gambian partner. Thank you. The floor is yours, Mimado.
Thank you for having me on board.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to say a big thank you to MSDG for giving us the opportunity. I run the Fajara Skills Development Center, and we started in 1999. Presently, we're challenged with most of the past graduates going through the cruise ship to seek greener pastures overseas. But this opportunity has actually brought about a more community-based orientation so that we can help the young ones. I would not say early school dropouts. I would just call them early school leavers and vulnerable people, vulnerable women especially, to come and learn how to cook in a healthy and taking into cognizance of hygiene, personal relationship, taking care of the home, menu costing, diet, and all that. I'm going to just stop here so that I give one of the trainees, Modu Salyu Sise Jalo, the opportunity to tell you what he has learned. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I greet you all by your humble names. My name is Modu Salyu Jalo. I am one of the trainees at Fajara Skill Training Center, and the one speaking was our principal, Thomas Jean. I thank her very much, and I thank each and every one of you too for letting me be part of this diaspora. This is my first time, but I'm really grateful and thankful to you all. First, I would love to introduce myself. My name is Modu Salyu Jalo. I am an Gambian, and I am from Latrikunda Savage, West Coast River region. And then I'm on dropout. So then I took this backway journey because of at that time all I was thinking is that taking this backway journey would be better for me because of I was raised by my mom. My dad left us earlier because of she passed away, and I was staying with my grandmother. So when my grandmother then passed away, so then I went to my mom. So I am staying with my mom and my younger brother. So my mom was not that much strong. So I dropped out of school. So my background wasn't strong, like to pay school for me. So I left school. So I was doing these petty jobs. So at that time, I heard this backway journey and people were going. So I took off to the backway journey, but actually I couldn't make it. So I came back. So when I came back, one of my stepmom heard about this scholarship at Fajara Skills Training Center. So she told me to go there and meet the principal, Madam Jean. So I went there and I met with Madam Jean, and she was very humble and good to me, and she was very kind. She was so polite. So she took me. So I am now in the school, but we at the school we really have learned a lot because of we learn how I'm doing cookery and pastry, and other students are doing sewing, and others are doing this hairdressing. We have learned a lot in the school because of I can do many things by myself now. These are some pictures that we are showing you that what we do in the school. We do cookings, we do pastry. These are the things we have done, and we are doing much more better because of now I have learned things that I could even able to do things for myself. We do catering because of just yesterday, me and one of my sister named Binda, she is going to the school too. We have a catering, so we are doing it. Just the things we have learned in school.
To make money.
Just to make money, to gather some money because of life isn't easy. So, and the school did offer courses. We do English and mathematics we do entrepreneur, and we do IT classes too. We do have IT classes too. So we do have IT classes too. So the students are really performing well, and the school is good. The teachers have been good to us. They have been kind to us. We are learning a lot. So I'm really thankful and grateful to my principal and my stepmom. I couldn't thank them much. So I'm saying Alhamdulillah, give thanks, because of, as for me, a school dropout and a backway returnee, I never thought that in my life I will be able to go back to school again. Because just as Pa Osman said and Singate, just have they said, because of my principal is empowering the youth, such people like me. So I'm really thankful and grateful to her. So thank to you all.
Okay. Thank you, Modu. Just to say that MSDG has provided a 9 months training, but I hope they will consider so that they can master the skill they have come for by giving them another 9 months, which will make them really grounded and know the onions, know their work in depth. Looking at it, we had challenges when we started because people came on board wanting to register, but not having somewhere to stay within this area. Most of them came from upcountry, and they were interested to do this program. We had issues with that. Some of them had to cross Barra every day coming on to school, and the ferry services, it's not regular. But we try to house them so that they can just finish this course. We had issues with human resources, having qualified teachers to come to teach. But thank God we have lately gotten our old teacher, Mr. Bless Mane, who's well known all over the Gambia. He's been to Qatar, Nigeria, name it, he's been all over. And he's giving his input. We're really pleased to have him on board, back to where we started. Looking at the MSDG, we must say we're grateful. Lately, it's not only coming on to learn English, maths and entrepreneurship, but there's something about attitude. We try to teach them customer care, hygiene, how to talk, and some of them, not their fault, but we have to really counsel and sensitize them how to, be professional in their field. Some of them have issues back at home, and when they come, we try to counsel them, give them, little pep talk, just to make sure that they leave the load behind and see that there's a brighter tomorrow with their skills. I'm happy that Modu is just revealing that they had some little contract which they do from time to time, and this is giving them some income. This is where the entrepreneurship instinct comes on board. So they can say, you don't have to go through the cruise ship to make it. You can also make it in the Gambia. Thank you. This is what we have to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Thomas there. And also thank you to Modu. Modu, that was excellent. We are proud of you. We are happy that this is a live explanation of the impact of the intervention that is changing life and livelihood in the Gambia. Thank you, and we are proud of you. And also you are proud that support is coming from the Gambians living in the diaspora. So we'd like to call on to the next presenter, and that is Ahmed Manjang. Ahmed Manjang's project is on Farm for School Lunch, which is actually very quite interesting. Ahmed Manjang is from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and he ventured in the horticultural sector to support the nutrition for young people going to school. Thank you and welcome, Ahmed.
Okay, Ahmed is going to say his prayer. Can we have Janke Njai instead?
Okay.
Next.
Thank you.
Are you ready?
You're welcome. Are you ready? Hello, Janke.
If not, we can move to Adam Jallo Jane. Adam Jallo Jane. Adam.
Hello, yes, I'm here.
Okay, good.
And I will proceed. I'll start by sharing my screen, if that's okay, if you give me permission.
You can go ahead.
Kindly.
By the way, Adam Jallo Jane's project is a National Epilepsy Awareness Project. Adam Jane is also from UK, and this is also supporting the health sector. Thank you. Yes, the screen is clear now. You're welcome.
All right, thank you very much. As Numbe have just said, my name is Adam Jallo Jane, and I am the president and co-founder of the Foundation for Epilepsy and Stigma Support Gambia, a charitable organization registered in the Gambia to protect the rights of people with epilepsy and also promote their inclusion in society. Now, Dr. John Jabang is the vice president of the foundation, and Yahya Jammeh, who I call the face of epilepsy in the Gambia, is our head of operations. So what I will do is just give you a big, just a background of why epilepsy, because we do get asked that question all the time. Epilepsy is not something that we talk about in public. So the reason for the organization is through my, I would say, unlucky experience living with a son who has epilepsy in the UK, who was diagnosed with epilepsy at the age of 4, and also a brother in the Gambia who also lives with epilepsy and now at the age of 47 years old. Now, comparing my two experiences, they are nowhere near each other. My son was diagnosed at an early stage, put on medication, his seizures were controlled, and now he lives positively with epilepsy. He's 21 years old now. For my brother, it was not the same. He's 47 years old now and intellectually disabled, physically disabled, and depends on my mom to live. He's basically lost the full potential of his life. And this is why, together with very young, passionate Gambians, we came about to register Foundation for Epilepsy and Stigma Support in November 2020. We launched the foundation in December 2020, and today we are a member of the International Bureau for Epilepsy, the International League Against Epilepsy, and also Epilepsy Alliance Africa. So today, as a Diaspora Development Fund awardee for 2022, I've been tasked to talk about our project, which is the National Epilepsy Awareness Program, which is part of a 5-year project that we're into 2 years now to bring epilepsy out of the shadows in the Gambia. Output 1 is for us to run community and school awareness session with 1,000 participants. And output 2 is to run a technical workshop with 3 hospitals and 50 healthcare practitioners. As usual, because of the kind of work we do, we seize every opportunity to educate people about epilepsy. It's a neurological disorder that affects the brain and characterized by reoccurring seizures. In the Gambia, when you hear epilepsy, all people can think of is movements and jerkings. There is more to that. And Today, there are more than 60 types of epilepsies. Epilepsy is one of the most common neurological conditions, with 65 million people living with the condition worldwide. And in 70% of cases, people can live seizure-free with anti-seizure medication. Yet still globally, there is a treatment gap of 70%, out of which 80% reside in lower middle income countries like Gambia, and also 75% of whom live in Africa. Now, where are we with epilepsy in the Gambia? The prevalence of epilepsy is unknown. However, according to various studies, prevalence of epilepsy in sub-Saharan Africa is estimated to be between 14 to 16 people per thousand. So using that estimation in Gambia, we would like to think, or we think there will be between 31,000 to 35,000 people living with epilepsy. Now, the treatment gap sits at 90%, a little bit higher than the 70% worldwide, and this is from the World Health Organization publication in 2002. And what this means is for every 10 people living with epilepsy, only one person is currently receiving medical treatment. Now, why is this number low? These are the challenges that we have identified. And first is the lack of knowledgeable specialist healthcare providers. In the Gambia, the ratio of neurologists to the population is 0.2 per 100,000, with no specialist epilepsy nurses in the country. There's also the lack of neurodiagnostic tools and technicians to interpret results like EEGs, CT scans, and MRIs. And at the moment, Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital is the only hospital with these facilities. There's also lack of availability and accessibility of cost-effective anti-seizure medication. Epilepsy is a chronic disorder, and people with epilepsy need to take medication on a regular basis. And we have come to know that sometimes they do run out of supplies, despite anti-seizure medications being available or supply free in every primary healthcare facility in the Gambia. They also lack financial and social support, and most of them end up leaving school, and majority as well get diagnosed with anxiety and depression. We have also come to know that there is lack of political will from government and policymakers to improve healthcare services for people with epilepsy. And this is not their fault. Epilepsy is something that is hidden in our houses. People don't talk about it. And therefore, because people are shamed and discriminated against, they would rather be quiet about their conditions and never speak up about what they're going through. And therefore, when health officials don't know about the challenges that they are facing, of course, it will never be a priority for them unless they are directly affected. So our Diaspora Development Fund project, so far, what have we achieved? We have trained 65 healthcare practitioners within Greater Banjul area and the West Coast region. We have run epilepsy awareness programs in 15 schools with over 1,600 participants. We have been featured on national television stations, GRTS, and other TV stations. We have attended interviews in community radios and online media houses. And that national coverage means our voices and messages have been amplified across all regions in the country. We have had 10 new volunteers join FESGAM, including people with epilepsy. And up to January 2023, we have registered and performed EEG tests for 258 epilepsy patients at the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital Epilepsy Clinic. We've also launched a TikTok and Instagram account, and we speak our local languages there. And what we do, including our Facebook and LinkedIn social pages, we share information about epilepsy, and this is in our local languages. I personally have received recognition from the Vice President of the Gambia, His Excellency Mr. Mamadou Jallow, and also the High Commissioner of the UK, Dr. Fatoumata Bensouda, on behalf of FESGAM for our outstanding epilepsy work in the Gambia and the UK. So what are the opportunities? Now, we do have an epilepsy symposium currently scheduled for Tuesday, the 13th of June, which is next week, Tuesday, at the Paradise Suites Hotel. You are all invited, anybody who is in Gambia. And there will be participants from all 4 primary hospitals in the country, with representatives from people with epilepsy who will be empowered to share their journeys and share their stories. We will have a speaker from the foundation to share our work, representatives from Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital, the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, and by chance there happened to be a delegation from the Sweden and Africa neurosurgical collaboration team in Gambia with special interest in epilepsy, so they will be part of the symposium as well, including UNICEF and also WHO Gambia office. And we have been lucky to have a practicing neurologist who is currently in the Gambia with contract on a contract with WHO, and she will be assisting us to publish epilepsy prevalence data and also knowledge and attitude of students and also healthcare professionals towards epilepsy. We are also yet to receive, which is in the pipeline by the end of the year. We are expecting our second EEG machine, which we are planning to install at Buyam General Hospital, which will also come with training and mentorship program for healthcare workers to learn how to record and interpret EEG recordings, which is a more sustainable way of providing epilepsy services than what we have arranged now with Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital, where records are taken in the Gambia. And this is shared with one of our partners based in the UK, Tele EEG, who then interprets the results or the recordings. And then the interpretation is shared with our clinicians on the ground in the Gambia. Now, what are the challenges we faced? Our first one is access to funds, because healthcare is expensive. We couldn't do this program without having the monies physically into our account. So what I will suggest for the management of Diaspora Development Fund, if possible, to have 80% of the grant actually paid 3 months prior to activities starting and 20% on completion. We also faced some institutional protocols that we did not know about as a very young foundation, where we have sent emails to stakeholders, and on few days before the actual events, we're following up to see who is attending and if they're all set and ready, just to find out that people have not checked their emails, and therefore we have to reschedule some of the trainings that we carried out. Another is overspend on our budget, which is not really an issue because we did raise some additional funds as well because of, I think Dr. Jared Jain mentioned how these projects or trainings are done in Gambia. You have to pay for food, you have to pay for the people that are attending, and yet still they are gaining knowledge. But that's the norm, so it's fine to proceed with that. And some of the challenges was the inability to get receipts for some transactions. In the end, what we did, we have our own receipt books where any payments that was made, we make sure that the individual sign our own receipt book for our own records. Now, what are the long-term expectations of this, the impact that is expected? We are expecting an increase in the number of patients visiting primary healthcare facilities for epilepsy treatment and reducing the treatment gap of 90% that we have at the moment. Also to improve epilepsy knowledge among healthcare professionals, local communities, and people with epilepsy, and among people with epilepsy. We also look to reduce misinformation and misconceptions about epilepsy, and eradicate the stigma and discrimination against people with epilepsy. We know for sure that people with epilepsy, normally they are seen, the symptoms normally is believed to be because of evil spirit, or it's contagious, or is caused by jinns. As you know, in our local languages, the terminology used for epilepsy, we say kidafa amrap, kafdeda, and the Maninkas will say wayo, and Sumamboti Poli, if I'm saying it right, will say now Rajini or something like that, and and all the various local languages. We also want to promote the inclusion of people with epilepsy in schools, workplaces, and community activities. We have found that most of the people that we work with that dropped out from schools, none of them are actually in paid employment, so we want this to change. We're also looking to have a countrywide data on epilepsy in the Gambia, which can be used to leverage future interventions. And of course, we want recognition and involvement of FESGAM in national health policy discussions on epilepsy and also on other neurological disorders, including mental health. We are also campaigning for a patient-centered national epilepsy treatment guidelines. Through guidelines, that's the only way we can ensure that epilepsy services are the same and available at every corner of the country. So here is just a picture diary of achievements so far. This was an international celebration, in International Epilepsy Day celebration in February 2021, where we have various local, various interviews in local radios, in local languages, and also in English. We met the Minister of Health to discuss our plans and what we want to see happen in the Gambia, including management of Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital. We also visited the Methodist Special School, where majority of their students live with epilepsy. And this is when we opened the first, we together with Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital and our partner Tele-EEG, we opened a multidisciplinary team of epilepsy clinic in March 2021. And this is when the EEG machine arrived in Gambia and was being presented to the then CMD, Professor Nyan. And this was the first virtual training facilitated by, again, our partners, EEG. As you know, we take the recordings, but the recordings get interpreted by neurologists, volunteer neurologists in the UK here. And here is a presentation of a medication grant that we currently receive of Keppra, which is one of the most effective anti-seizure medications known to the whole world. So Gambia have access to these medications now through a grant from Roe Foundation, one of our partners as well, based in the USA. This is when we inaugurated the first ever EEG machine at Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital, which was attended by the First Lady of the Gambia, Fatoumata Barbaro, the Minister of Health, Dr. Amadou Samate, and also some very important health directorates. Here is step-down training. The foundation have sponsored 8 healthcare workers who are the first to be sponsored to learn about epilepsy assessment and management, a course that's facilitated by Pretola Global Health and Consulting in the UK here. And also we, Yahya Jammeh, as I mentioned earlier, also carried out an EEG training where we teach nurses on how to record EEG and, most importantly, how to give seizure first aid. Here, the foundation also participated in consultation meetings at the WHO, and also terminology, when we looked at terminology of epilepsy in Africa, which was under the Epilepsy Alliance Africa. And this is just a picture of an epilepsy, the journey of somebody with epilepsy. What are the important factors in order to make sure that everyone living with epilepsy live a fulfilled life? And this is what guides all our actions. And this is a picture that was produced by the foundation and now has been adopted by the Epilepsy Alliance Africa. And here is a poster, just tells people what they need to do if they come across somebody who is having a seizure, which I believe is very important for all of us to know, because anybody with a brain can have a seizure, and anybody with a brain can also help somebody who's got a seizure. We know in Africa, when somebody has a seizure, especially in the Gambia, we are no different. They put a spoon in the mouth of the person who's having the seizures, or try to hold on to their body so that they're not jerking, which has proven to be very dangerous and can have serious consequences to a person who's having a seizure. So this poster is specific for Africa with do's and don'ts of seizure first aid. Now, and here is just multiple radio and TV sensitizations we have held on epilepsy awareness and also on stigma prevention. Now, this is specific to Buyam General Hospital and some of the schools that we visited. There you go. Here are some of the pictures. And on the left-hand side, as you can see, we had a patient. It was all over the radio around Buyam or West Coast area. So we have some patients who attended and had the opportunity to do the EEG. And also these patients were diagnosed, and the results were shared with clinicians at Buyam General Hospital. Now, we finance our projects through grants. So as you can see, we have received grants from International Bureau for Epilepsy, the MSDG Diaspora Development Fund, individual sponsors, and also selling T-shirts to raise funds. And the most important is our volunteers, which include people with epilepsy, without whom we will not be where we are today. So everybody that you can see on this picture are volunteers with the organization, from nurses to people with epilepsy, to media personnel, and also doctors. You see Dr. Jabang there, and also Dr. Ombektom, who is a neurologist as well. Now, this is a picture of a specific train of trainers, which was sponsored by Diaspora Development Fund. And it was for 35 healthcare workers who later joined us in our outreach program in schools. And here we go. I had to put them so tiny, so just to give you an overview of how many schools we visited and how many people participated in this program. Now, in conclusion, I would like to thank the Diaspora Development Fund through the MSDG program for this opportunity. And if anybody here, we are always looking for volunteers, whether it's to manage our social media page, or a nurse or somebody who's in the rural areas and think that their community can benefit from our awareness programs, feel free to contact us. Our email address, as you can see there, is firstgambia@gmail.com. And we do have a helpline as well, which is currently being totally run by volunteers. And the number is 770061. So I will end here and hand you back to Nume and Pamusa. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Adama Jammeh, for that brilliant presentation. Actually, this is quite fascinating to see how many lives you are impacting there, and also the network with key stakeholders to make sure the support that we are doing is mainstream, because this is key in the interventions of DDF as well. Thank you. So I would like to call on to the next presenter, which is Ahmed Manjang, if he is in. Ahmed Manjang is the Farm for School launch. He is from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and he is venturing in the horticultural sector, which is still under agriculture. Thank you. Welcome, Ahmed.
Yes. Can I share my screen?
Yes, you can go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, well, good evening, everybody. And thank you very much for giving me the platform to start to present the work we are doing here on the ground. Yeah, the school is 3 to 7 years old, Sekata Memorial Nursery School. We always maintain a small garden, might be a couple of beds in the school just to teach kids the basics of farming and also the names of these common vegetables in their own local dialects and also in English. So upon my return in 2021, we decided to go big and use that garden as the proper school garden as well. So Success Foundation integrated farm was started, and we call it 100% organic as well, because the school, even though it's only one meal they have from the school, of course, they come with their lunch and they buy from local vendors. But we believe that single meal, we can make it as healthy as possible. Coming from a scientific background, microbiologist, I think Gambians, we were using chemicals either in as a fertilizer or pest control. So we've been doing this organic farming at a smaller scale, and it's working. And we see that composting, if you have the right ingredients, even perform better than inorganic fertilizers that are being used. So the garden actually was established in 2018, but 100% organic that was started only in November 2022. And thanks to the support we have from MSDG, this was possible. So our number one aim at the time was to provide organic vegetables for school lunch. But as soon as we start harvesting, we know our production actually can outstrip our daily needs. So we start selling to other local schools and also lodges around Gunyu. And any profit also we have from this was plowed back into the school 100%, because this is inner, I'm not sure if there is any term as inner village, or should I call inner city. It's right in the middle of Gunyu. Musa visited the place recently. Even when
Sorry,
we are
Ahmad,
kids,
can you kindly speak a bit louder? Thank you.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. And my battery is warning. So yes, Musa recently visited our school facility and also the garden. So the school is right in the middle of Gunyu. Even when we are kids, there is no school around that end. And with development, there is not going to be any development. So the school was actually established in a landfill site, but the land originally belongs to my grandfather. So when I came back from England in 2005, I told my dad I want to establish a school in this place. And he told me, I think you are crazy. I say, well, if I have to go ahead, I will. So they actually throw it at me. So this is where the school come from. And right now I can say we are the only school around that end which provide foundation nursery education for kids between the age of 3 to 7. So this project employed 2 youths, 2 Gambians and 1 Malian. And other beneficiaries from this project also include women from the neighboring village, that is Medina Salam. If you follow our activities in Gunyu recently, we suffered a lot from environmental destructions. The sand mining actually take almost all the lands from women vegetable gardeners. Initially, they were mining sand dunes. So they mine so deep, the fertile lowlands become now the top, and now they start taking all that. So women are scrambling for places. So what this project does, it provides them with secure fencing and also regular water supply. The fencing have already been there since 2018, but regular constant water supply has been a big struggle. So, but with these funds, we managed to have a 3,000 capacity tank, and also two solar panel, which again is environmental friendly, and also a water pump that will give pressure so that all part of the garden can have a proper water pressure. We also built water carriers fitted with overhead taps. So these will fill these water carriers. Basically, what we have to do, our employees have to do, and these women groups, is to come and fill their buckets and go. And when we started, it was a local well, so you have to use manually to secure water, and that was a big challenge. And all the amount of people who benefited directly from this project will be difficult to quantify, but I can say our school have 175 young girls and boys, so who are directly benefiting from something we know is organic with very, very little, if environmental contaminants. Yes. I would say probably 95% of our problems are solved, but still we encounter some challenges. As you know, Gambia market is flooded with very poor quality machines, mainly from China and India. So the first machine we actually bought lasted only for a few weeks. And we have to quickly replace that. That was a little setback. And a lot of the works also are done by our hands. So the only major issues we encountered was technical, for which I just mentioned about our machine. But other than that, with these ones, everything is moving smoothly. You know. Okay, so most of the things I can remember them offhand, and I think I've already mentioned them. So in terms of the involvement, the hours, the work contract hours our employees have, if we calculate the 3 people who work morning shift about 3 to 4 hours, and the evening 2 hours, that's amounted to about 3,024 hours up to the time of preparing this report. So personally, once we have the notification that our application was successful, my personal savings of over 40,000 was plowed into this project, because as you know, vegetable gardening in the dry seasons is time bound. So we started before we could get the funds. And also external source of in-kind help we have is one Usman Gajiko, who donated with a lot of sticks, which we actually don't need all of it. So we end up donating the rest to other women vegetable gardeners in Gunjur here. It's up to a tune of about $15,000. And the garden was shared into 2. The 100% organic use, one half, the other half is used by 3 family units. These are big families, so in the family there is a lead lady who have our own plot, then they have some of the teenage girls also. Unfortunately, hardly there is any boy doing the gardening except one who once in a while during weekends, the boys will come to help. So this is one thing also we try to encourage for boys to take up vegetable gardening, because naturally, physically, we are more physically endowed than women. So I see absolutely no reason why our boys cannot go into vegetable gardening. And this project also teaches us that actually is a very, very lucrative business, which not only MSDG, but government should actually invest in vegetable gardening, provided trainings, and also funding facilities for young people. You know, things like onions, we shouldn't be ordering them now. In fact, as of today, there is an acute shortage of onion because of this crisis in Senegal. This is one of the easiest vegetables to grow. So as you can see, these are two of the picture I saw, the overhead tank there, and also you can see the solar panel hanging. And we also try to include the fruit trees like oranges were there, but we start including bananas because these bananas we hope next time we can start sharing these also during our school lunch. So this is the kind of water carriers we prepare. Whilst previously is the well, we have to go from 12 meters deep. Now you only come with your bucket and take water. Of course, we can improve with the drift technology, but this is far better and more energy efficient than what we are used to. And also the benefits, one of the biggest benefits from this project was initially to convince women that this compost actually worked. They were very reluctant, but now I can say they are all taking up to it. And also the technique, our 3 employees, they are all proficient in making this, and all the materials we use for this composting are all sourced locally and include fish scales, rotten fish. You all see in the videos now we find some use for them, and peanut shells, and also cow dung and anything, and also dry grasses. So we believe we save them a lot of money, and this will actually increase their earning power as far as vegetable gardening is concerned. And our plan next time is to go around to other vegetables gardens within Gunjur to teach them how to make their own compost in their gardens, so that not only providing chemical-free vegetables, but also cut down the spending they put on organic fertilizers. So these are the short reports I have about our project. Thank you all very much once again for this opportunity. It would not have been possible without actually the support of MSDG and also the moral support as well. Whenever we got stuck, we can always call on Musa. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ahmed Manjang, for the brilliant presentation and also for supporting the school lunch, which is quite important in building the nutrition the kids need to be productive at school. And also for using organic fertilizer, which is more sustainable and healthier for the food that we put on the table. I would like to call on the next presenter, and that is Jibril Jom. Jibril Jom is from Norway. Jibril, the floor is yours. Welcome.
Jibril, I believe na yang si Corby, floor is yours.
Jibril is supporting the entertainment industry, is supporting revitalize the cultural center in Jawara. Jibril, you are welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much to everyone. Hope you people are hearing me.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Yeah, I'm saying hello, extending my greetings. Actually, I will not be so directly because my English are very poor, actually, but I will try to express myself. But I will thank, first of all, my name is Jibril Ngom, and I'm living in Norway, Oslo. And I'm the founder of Afrombalach. It's a cultural group living in Norway here in Scandinavia. Some are living in Sweden, some are living in Norway here, but we are all Gambians who are well talented and rounding about with the flag of the Gambia in the cultural aspect. So I'm the founder of Afrombalach, and I'm the culture ambassador in the Scandinavia, in the diaspora, I can say. And I was working with projects actually before, but this DDF project, which is the MS come from the MSDG. It give me a very, 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 very learning process. Actually, that's the output I can say, and that's very educative, I can say, and I'm very proud of. I will not say much. Actually, I was not well prepared to be, because I get the message from my friend Ndey and Famusa just recently, and all these days I was playing around. Even yesterday, I was playing in Sandefjord, and my boys are here from Stockholm. So I'm very busy, and I apologize for that. But I don't want to miss the opportunity to say and to express myself. And even right now, I was having a meeting with the Njawara community. Right now, I tell them that I must stop it to join to the MSTG meeting. Actually, this is a learning process, you know, for me and for them, because to understand what project is, it was a amazing process. And I will use the opportunity to thank Ndey Jobate and Nene Bojang and Pamusa and Dumbe and Jibril as well, who actually, you know, was playing a good key role for me to be succeeded, because I asked a lot of questions, because many things were new to me. And the Njawara people, Njawara community are very, 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 very thankful about this. And they were working hard locally with me, with hand and glove. You know, actually, I wish if I could have the floor and talk in Wolof, but actually, maybe we have fellows who cannot understand Wolof. I will try my level best to give my best knowledge in English, actually. But my English...
Jibu, you feel free to lack Wolof, please.
Wow, okay. maa ngi nuyu ñëpp tam li ma jot a wax moom loolu duma ko répéter ci anglais, waaye itam maa ngi wane suma kontante comme ni ma ko waxee rek, lii moom jàngat la boo xam ne nii mënumaa wax dayo bi ci li ma jàng ci lii, te loolu maa ngi koy gërëmee Jibril Fall ci boppam ak ñi nga xam ne mbootaay gi nga xam ne moom lay ñu mooy liggéeykati ndooram yi, di gërëm tam Gambia House, waaye di gërëm Ndumbe ak Fa Moussa, parce que ñoom itam ñu sonn lañ ci lii, parce que man moom damay laajte, parce que lu bari xaw ma ko woon ci projet, you know, man damay liggéey, waaye itam comme ci wàlli musique bi cër bu mag laa ci am. Dama am groupe boo xam ne ni maay njiit li, man doomi musicien laa woon, ki nga xam ne Ablaye Ngom di leet Ablaye Ngom, moo tax musique bi benn tey ñu ngi ci góorgóorlu wuñ ci sax pour am ci xaalis, waaye dañ ci góorgóorlu pour yóbbu suñu flag bi fu ne, comme ni kii waxee bu yàggul, naka la tudde Singaate, man maa moom nekk nañ fi, xam na li may liggéey fii, man it xam naa li muy liggéey, jàmbaar la ci liggéey bi, dafa mel ne lu bari sax waxal na ma ko ba pare, waaye itam moom ci anam bi muy liggéey ak anam bi may liggéey dañ utee ci projet bi. waaye maa ngi gërëm ñëpp itam, kontaan boo xam ne ni depuis bu meeting bi doore maa ngi déglu, waaye li ma dégg fii dafa jéggi dayoo daal ci kontaante, ne ñi ma fi dégg yëpp suma doomi réew lañ, ñi doomi Gambian yi nga xam ne ñu ngi dëkk ci réew tubaab di def lu jéggi dayoo, parce que li fi gars yi wax ba pare dama fogoon ne sax doyoon na, dafa mel ni waxal nañ ma, waaye itam fekkee cër la, ma ne dama bokk ci lifin bi, ñu wóolu ma jox ma mbir, man it foog ma wax. waaw mu ngeen baal ma àq nag itam ne maa ngi wax ci kàllaama bi nga xam ne moom laa nampa, waaw parce que itam bugguma nekk fii di dugg ci ñax mi, waaye itam suma mbir lépp lu taxoon ma bugg a wax, xëy na yeneen yi dinaa ko binda yónnee ko pour def suma naka la tudda suma jeexlu liggéey bi, parce que gars yi jeexal nañ ba fi mu nekk ni right now ñu ngi defar sukuwe yi. Bëggoon naa nag technically ma wone tam li nga xam ne nataal yeeg yooyu noonu yëpp, waaye kontaan daal ne ñoom Jibril Fall ak ñoom dumbe yëpp ñëwoon nañ ba foofu gis liggéey bi fa gars yi def waaye liggéey bi dafa gën a garaaw fi mu nekk nii ne gars yi def nañ set out yoo xam ne nii man sax dama fogoon ne ñi locally duñ mun loolu te lii tam tax na def na loo xam ne nii MSDG ñoo joxe loo xam ne nii ba ma toog war a mun a liggéey def dara suma réew parce que li may xalaat saa su ne mooy duñ xalaat ñun ñu nekk ci bitim réew li ñu réew mi defal waaye lan lañ mun a defal réew mi te loolu tam MSDG ñooñu jox opportunité bi bañ mun a def loolu ci gàttal rek maa ngi gërëm ñëpp gannaaw ba loolu passé nag méttit yi nga xam ne ñu ngi koy dul jànkuwanteel mooy li nga xam ne mbiri xaalis la xaalis doy na xaalis doyut waaye xaalis bi pour naka lañ koy tegee ci yoon da nga xam ne kenn du ci mun a yóbbu leneen feneen ci beneen anam loolu tam nekkoon na loo xam ne nii yàlla defalal nañu si sutura waaye nekkoon na loo xam ne nii mooy challenge si comme niñ koy waxee ci angale mooy jafe-jafe yi ñu doon am ci mbir moomu loolu tam ñu sant ci yàlla yëpp dem na ci niñ ko buggee dañ bindoon ñun dañ amoon suñu receipt book boo xam ne Jibu Ngom andi groupe Afro Mbalax lañ fa nekk nga xam ne lépp luñ jëndee feneen loolu dañ koy jël bind ko ci receipt book bi nga xam ne ñun dinañ mun a am contrôle lef xaalis bi lu ci nekk lu nit liggéey ñu fay la sax loolu da ngay bind ci receipt book bi ne kii nangam sangam Modou Ndiaye mi moom lañ moo liggéey nangam sangam moom lañ ci fay nangam sangam so ideas yooyu noonu yëpp itam ndimbali ñi nga xam ne lañ doomi Gambian yu nekk ci diaspora bi fii ku mel ni Ndey Jobaate moom itam ku ma jàppale la te comme li dafa am benn waaju garaaw waaju baax waajoo xam ne day man suma mento la mooy Jibril Fall dafa am waxtaan wu gàtt lu mu waxtaanoon ci biir foofu ñoom dumbe yëpp a ngi toog mun ne ñetti nit lañ soxla ci société mooy ki mun ki xam ak ki am loolu mu jël ma ay fan pour ma xalaat looloy lan waaye ma gis ko ci dëgg xam ne loolu lañ nit pour société ñu war koo mun a bil ki xam mooy ki am xam-xam ki man mooy ki am dooleem wala métiem ki am mooy ki nga xam ne dafa mun a génnee xaalis isi ko financier yi mu nekk loo xam ne tam moo tax ma ne rek damay confirm ne lii nekk na loo xam ne ni jàngee naa ci lu bari ci boole ci li raw nag itam li ma jàngaloon suma bopp wala li ma jàngee ci ay doomi aadama yoo xam ne ni bi ma ñëwee fii ci bitim réew ak bi ma nekkee Gambie itam su ma wax nag du gudda fekk ñu bari war a wax kon man foofu rek laay emale suma wax waaye di gërëm ñi fi wax ñëpp nag di gërëm ñi nga xam ne tam Jibril Fall ñi moo liggéeyal ndoor parce que gisoon naa fa ay ñoo xam ne der yu weex lañ maa ngi use opportunity bi di thank everybody every individual koo xam ne def na directly wala def na indirectly nga xam ne butut ñëw na Gambia loolu maa ngi leen ci gërëm di leen sant di use opportunity bi di leen ñaanal itam jàmm muy tubaab muy nit ku ñuul ba nga xam ne xaalis bi tam am na ñeneen ñoo xam ne ni jàppanañ ci te xëy na duñ doomi Gambien ñu itam ñu ngi leen a gërëm di leen sant jërëjëf assalaamu aleykum wa rahmatullah
jërëjëf Jibu Dumbe floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Jibu jërëjëf. Sa presentation is excellent and ba pare ñu ngi la gërëm. We just reflect on the diversity of the DDF. We look at DDF holistically. It's just Gambia in real life. And we also want to transform the brain drain to brain gain. We know that the cream of the Gambia, sometimes we say, have left the soil, and Gambians in the diaspora are very talented and well-skilled. And this is not good for the economy. So what the project is doing is to make sure that we encourage the brain gain in giving back to the society. So we are happy that you are supporting the local community in Yawara to revive the culture, which is very important to all of us. Thank you so much, Jibril. We would like to call on Dudu Jom. Dudu Jom is also from the USA. He's also intervening in the agriculture sector, rearing chicks for poultry industry. Thank you and welcome, Mr. John. Hello, Mr. John. The floor is yours. For the benefit of time, I think we can proceed to the next presenter. Do we have him? Yes. The next presenter is Musa Dabo. Musa Dabo also is supporting the movie production in Hollywood in Nigeria. Musa Dabo, the floor is yours. Whilst we wait for Ujibu, we can have you. The floor is yours. It seems those...
I think you've got Mr. Sar, who's doing the e-commerce project.
Mr. Sar.
Mr. Sar, if you are on the line, please take the floor.
Hello, yes, hi, sorry, I'm here. Thank you very much. Just give me 1 second, let me share my screen.
Sorry, are you having any difficulty sharing your screen?
No, it should be on.
It's coming. We're seeing it now. We're seeing it now.
Yes. Okay, can you hear me? Audio is fine?
It's fine. It's fine.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Modu Sar, and I'm here to present on behalf of the e-commerce and digital payments platform. I will start by introducing myself as the founder and CEO of Pronto Delivery, and I am the Gambian partner and of Ernest Sherry, who is the CEO and founder of High Tech Solutions. So just to give a brief background, Pronto Delivery is the first multi-merchant e-commerce. So I kind of convinced him to go for it. You know, I told him that here in the Gambia, you know, we tend to have a good communication skills, and our dialect and, should I say, accent is kind of softer and, you know, easy on the ears as far as communication with non-Gambians are concerned. So we went for it. We basically started a digital marketing company that was working to provide content for different websites around the world. So basically, at some point, we were basically working with companies basically from every continent. And one of them was one of the top housing companies in the UK, Hauser. I don't know if you remember it, but they went down afterwards. But long story short, through this experience, I got into technology and the potentials of digital marketing. At that time, M-Pesa was making a lot of noise. Mobile money was basically the darling of the development community. So I looked at what was happening in the Gambia, and I realized that we're pretty much non-existent. There's nothing that was happening. So I thought that it would be a good idea to get into delivery services. Now, at the time, Dex was just starting again, so which is another delivery service, but they were doing courier delivery. So I tried to look into the prospect of developing a meal delivery service and to see how that would work. Now, when I was venturing into this was at a time when maybe I just started to realize that the WhatsApp coordinates would work in Gambia, but this was, before it was mainstream. So everybody thought I was crazy to even start to do this. And even the restaurants and the food establishments, I have to say, have been at first initially very reluctant, but they kind of got on board with the idea just because they saw that I was very persistent about it. And I have to commend the Lebanese community and the Gambian community in the food sector for really being the ones who really made it happen to what it is today. You know, this is a whole new industry that is employing, you know, hundreds of Gambians as delivery drivers. But not only that, I'm talking about the home-based businesses, the caterers, the women who can now sit at their houses. Maybe they have kids and they're looking for a new way. They're looking for a side income. They can cook and, you know, sell food via WhatsApp or, you know, Facebook to their network and, you know, earn a living that way. And this is all enabled by the delivery service. So, you know, all that being said, I say this to only buttress the point that for a very, you know, what can I say, innovative and helpful industry, we just haven't had any help from anybody until MSDG came, you know, and I have to say that this is, you know, commendable on the part of MSDG. And I want to really thank them for this intervention. Now I will move on. I know that time is against us, so I will run through the rest of my presentation very quickly. But our impact and output really is first of all, like I mentioned, employment creation. So the delivery drivers that we employ, we've turned from you know, basically giving them salaries to now pushing them towards being their own independent contractors and thinking in terms of building their own businesses and you know, being entrepreneurial in that sense. But another obvious potential impact of this is the lowering of remittance costs if you are able to successfully integrate a lot of SMEs on our online platform, and then are successful in the digital payment infrastructure that will make it possible for the diaspora to purchase directly to Gambian merchants. I mean, the potential for this is huge, and the fact is that we lose a lot of money to international, you know, money transfer services that could be going to the Gambian population. So there's also the potential to expand the market reach of Gambian SMEs. You know, not only is it now possible for you to just, you know, have Gambian customers, but somebody online can basically order from your shop and pay. Now, the problem, this is already happening, obviously, with technologies like WhatsApp and Facebook, but there's no digital payment infrastructure to back it. So once we have the digital payment infrastructure, we can really boost the potential of this service. So another output potentially is the foundation of a new digital economy that would make it possible to unleash a variety of, you know, services and industries that just don't exist right now. You know, we're talking about the potential for, you know, education technology, sorry, you know, online e-commerce, online travel, ticket travel purchases. Just a whole lot of potential industries and businesses that can happen when we finally finish with this infrastructure. Perhaps most importantly also is the possibility of having infrastructure that will make it possible for a diaspora to actually invest in Gambian businesses. I mean, you know, considering the comparison between what is coming in from the diaspora as remittances as compared to what we're getting from, you know, basically just donor programs. I think that, you know, the potential for this is also huge. You know, and I think that we are not even, you know, close to the summit of how much, you know, the diaspora can actually contribute to the economy. I think we're just seeing the beginning of this. So facts and figures. We've interviewed 10 disabled businesswomen who find transportation costs and a huge access to market barrier. You know, when we interviewed them, we realized that, you know, these women sometimes spend a lot of money on transportation just to come to the urban to meet their urban clientele, and this basically eats away at a disproportionate margin of their profits. We also engage with a pilot with Tamala Hotel to look at the potential to digitize the hotel procurement process. And this will basically make it possible for us to get the data that will enable us to provide smart advice to farmers who will now know what to grow, when to grow for the purposes of the tourism industry, which potentially is a huge buyer for the agriculture market. So the linkages that need to exist between the tourism industry and the agriculture industry, has to be enabled with technology. We believe that technology has a big role to play in this area. So with Thunder Fund, we plan to onboard 1,000 merchants on our platform. We raised an additional 1,000 euros with GIZ. We created 3 permanent additional jobs with the funds that were provided. And these are permanent jobs, and these are also not relatively low paying jobs as compared to other gig economy jobs in the economy. These are people who have jobs that can, we've seen some of our drivers use their income to pay their way to school. We've seen them buy their own bikes, and it's an employable and dignifiable wage creator. Next thing, we improved our equipment in terms of getting delivery bags, trackers to enable security of the equipment that we're getting. And we completed a driver app that will make it possible to scale the employability of drivers across the country. So we don't want to just focus on this service in the urban area. I know very well that people kind of criticize the delivery service as sort of like a what can I say, a privileged service, but we don't think that this is the case. First of all, we provide employment, but on the other hand, we can save people a lot of money on the transportation where they would have had to spend money to go and get something. They can get a driver who can bring it to them for half the price. But not only that, we have plans to further democratize the cost of delivery services, and expanding our fleet is essential in this process. Through this project, we also, had a conversation with GAIPA, and I have to say that it looks like it's promising. We'll have to see what happens with that in the future. And we are currently also finalizing the actual integration with GamSwitch. So this is what mainly the project is about. But we are facing some challenges in that area. GamSwitch is facing the problem of getting the banks to have the adequate software to be compatible with the new switch which Mr. Sherry and ATS is bringing to the country. On our end, we are also talking with Africell. One of our engineers in the Philippines is having a little bit of a problem. As you may know, there has been some weather issues over there, so we'll see how that progresses. But we were at the late stages before this unseen event happened. So facts and figures, general facts and figures, just backing our project value proposition. In Gambia, remittances account for 63% of Gambia's GDP. According to the FinScope survey, most MSMEs have no access to formal financial products. Back lending in the MSMEs is basically non-existent. The unemployment rate in the Gambia is lower than the average in sub-Saharan Africa, which is 12.4, and we're at I think we're at 12% somewhere. I have to see that. A large youth population, and which is over 60%, and which obviously, if the private sector does not get this right to absorb all the employment needs of this population, it will not be good. It will not be good for us. So we need structured investment vehicles for the public sector and the diaspora to engage the private sector. I think this is very important. we're facing a lot of problems just because, people in the public sector kind of see people in the private sector as competition, which is not really supposed to be the case. The public sector should be able to invest and participate in the private sector, which should be possible with, just more business and financial education, I think. So that's that. So challenges we are facing, IP issues. I think this is really, really key. And by IP, I mean intellectual property issues. I'll just give a very short example. For example, all of us here had to submit proposals to MSDG. Now, MSDG was really in a powerful position to really, abuse the intellectual property that any one of us here sent to them. But as the professionals that they are, who really are working towards the greater good of the Gambia and understand and have their own, priorities and goals, thankfully, they didn't do that. They delivered on everything they said they were going to do. And it's now up to us for us to able to use these funds to work on these projects as we agreed to do. But I'm sorry to say, organizations like MSDG I don't want to put anybody in a bad light, but not every organization in the Gambia operates this way. And it's sad to say that a lot of ingenuity, creative potential is lost in the process. It has to be sickening for somebody to work for 5 years on a project just to give it to somebody for them to just sideline them later and act like this is not even worse than killing somebody. It's crazy what can happen here when it comes to IP. And I've become an advocate for this through this project, and I'd like to thank MSDG for that. Access to finance obviously is a challenge. We will hopefully like to see the laws and regulation around digital payments to make it possible for airtime and mobile money conversion. This would unlock a lot of potential, I think, when it comes to access to finance. We should also look at cross-border formalities when it comes to looking at the possibility of cross-border trade when it comes to e-commerce. We all know that the Africa Continental Free Trade Agenda is a huge, paradigm that all the governments are trying to work towards. But the cross-border formalities when it comes yes, cross-border formalities when it comes to trade are just basically a hindering factor that should be considered. Lack of favorable procurement policies. We think the procurement policies should be able to incorporate the potential of the startup scene in the country, and should try to use procurement to boost the businesses of youth and women in the country. Obviously, we can talk about export literacy, where GAIPA comes into play. We want to work on that, digital literacy, access to data, and obviously, like I said, unforeseen events. So I think that's it for me. On the side of ICTS, like I said, I think I mentioned this. I can just move. So opportunities. We're hoping that we can, work more with organizations like GK Partners to source funds. And yes, we want to expand on the engagement with GAIPA, and we want to boost diaspora investment support and diaspora purchases in the private sector. I think there's a typo there. So we also are very keen on building the infrastructure for public servants to participate in the private sector. And last but not least, the potentials for e-government when the digital payment infrastructure is up to date is just huge. And for me personally, I am very keen on improving accessibility for people that live in the rural regions. It's heartbreaking sometimes to witness somebody travel, cross the bridge, cross the ferry, go to Ban just to process a document, and then be told that the person you want to see is not here today, come back tomorrow. Things like that are just, honestly, we don't even have to be doing that right now. I've witnessed somebody who's from the diaspora who came to the Gambia trying to sort out their passport. They were supposed to leave on the day supposed to leave. They had jobs they were supposed to go to. The day that they were told that their passport was not going to be ready, was not ready, and they just missed a whole lot more than their flight. Let's just put it that way. And the pain that I saw when I was looking at this person that they expressed at the immigration department was just sad. And honestly, from my point of view, it's unnecessary. With the technology of today, we can just process our documents online, and just especially for the diaspora. So that's what I have for you. Thank you very much. I'm trying to just talk really fast because I know that time is of the essence. And if you have any questions for me, feel free to reach out. Please check out our website, www.prontogambia.com. We have our app on the App Store, on the Play Store. I thank you very much. Thank you, MSDG, and thank you everybody else for the wonderful work that you're doing.
Thank you so much for that brilliant presentation. Quite exciting. Very interesting to see that you are leveraging on technologies whose cost of remittances, which is quite great, and also on your intervention on the reforms that are needed to improve ease of doing business in the Gambia. Thank you. So for the last presentation today, I think we'll go back to the agenda item. For the benefit of time, I've called some people and they have not come in, but we want to go straight to the agenda of the day, which is the agenda before the closing remark, the future of the Diaspora Development Fund, to be presented by Professor Jibril Fall, the Program Director, GK Partners MSDG Project. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Ndumbe. And I think given that we've had a marathon session, we've overrun by 1.5 hours, I would just link this short presentation as also the closing remarks. So I start by thanking you and the MSDG GK Partners team in Gambia for the hard work you've been doing on this DDF project, and for everyone who is still on the call for your patience. In fact, not very many people signed off. So there's still many who were in the beginning who are still with the call. And of course, we decided to go for this long session so that we capture many of the case studies and the projects for the purposes of the recording, with thousands and thousands who would have the chance to see it. Today, we've heard 13 of the 44 active cases. And I must say it has shown the diversity of the projects and the impact it is having. So within the GK Partners team in the Gambia, we are also pleased to announce that Usman Toure has joined the team supporting the DDF project and other projects. Many of you know Usman. He's well known all over the world as the Pan-African Wonder Kid. So Usman, welcome formally to GK Partners and the MSDG. In the next few months, as we wrap up this project and hopefully work towards another round, Usman would be around to assist Musa, Claire, Moshood, and all of the others working on this project. As you heard in Musa's presentation in the beginning, ourselves, we also have a number of criteria we set ourselves to monitor. And we've done our analysis of what our challenges have been and what the opportunities are. Some of the successes you saw from the numbers, that in terms of gender balance, the program has been quite okay. It's, I think it's 54 to 46%. Usually you struggle to find women to the 50-50 level, but 45 is not a bad achievement. Secondly, the age disparity is also good because you tend to have very small number of the younger ones and the older ones. And in this case, both those groupings, we have 10 people who are under 35 and 10 people who are over 55. That also is a good thing. Musa had mentioned that beyond the work we're doing directly with individuals, we also work with institutions as part of the Diaspora Development Fund on institutional work. Many of you have mentioned some of the problems, challenges you've encountered with different government ministries, departments, and agencies. And this is why we work with them on the common sort of goal to make it easier for the diaspora to enhance their contributions. I would just mention the ones that we are actively working with. So it's the National Assembly, the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education. The National Center for arts and culture, the Rural Development Institute, GAIPA, which is the Gambia Investment and Export Promotion Agency. And recently, we've also signed an agreement and started working formally with the National Youth Council. We've been working with them since 2017. So any dealings you have with these institutions, you can contact our office because we are working actively with them. They can facilitate. Also, you need to be reminded that at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we do now have a Gambia Diaspora Directorate, and it's an active directorate with good leadership. Many of you know Musa Kamara, who's the director. So any challenges relating to government, or even before you have the challenge, please contact that office. If you don't have his details, contact us, we'll pass it on. And they would help you find your way through the bureaucracy of every civil service. And the Gambia may be slightly worse than others, but the challenge with working with the public sector is everywhere. So beware of that opportunity as well. Now, some of the challenges we've had, looking at the numbers, you've seen that where the Gambian diaspora are, the biggest countries there are, there's disparity in terms of who's got the funding. United Kingdom getting what, 24 is overrepresented. And partly it's because there is a great deal of awareness. GK Partners, as a social enterprise company, is based in the UK. So maybe that has influenced UK being overrepresented. US, the representation 12 is quite good, but given the population of Gambians there, is underrepresented. Then we have almost every other country except Norway is underrepresented. Norway having 7 is overrepresented. And partly, perhaps that's mainly due to the active work of Gambia House, Lejobate and Nene and team, actively telling everybody about the project and encouraging them and helping even some to apply for the application. So we are aware of this and we are keen for the future to really extend the outreach and with different partners to get Gambians, particularly Spain we have 2, but to have more from Spain, Italy, Germany we have 1, but we need more from Germany, more from Senegal. So beware of that, and whatever help you can give us in terms of publicizing the work of MSDG. And if there's another round to publicize that round, that would be most helpful indeed. The monitoring, we have targeted that this project should create 400 jobs, 400 good, decent jobs. We are not there yet. Even the numbers that Pamusa shares, I think it's putting it at about 160. And that includes the one-off jobs, which are not necessarily decent or sustainable jobs. So there's a little bit of a struggle on that. And I think that's linked to the challenge many of you have shared about the fundraising, because we had also set you targets on how much funds to raise. And we have noticed that there's been challenges for that. So we still encourage you to move even more than you're doing now. It is not by accident that if you want something done, you give it to a busy person. Yes, if you want something done, give it to a busy person. And that seems counterintuitive, but there's sense in it, in that people who do things generally are better at doing things. And those of you, almost all of the projects we've funded are projects that are led by people who've been doing things already. So the encouragement for you to move even further, that's just moral sort of encouragement from our part, because we think the more you push, you will get more results, both on trying to raise more funds and also on the job creation fund. So another observation I have is relating to, we've got 1 or 2 challenges, 1 or 2 of the projects. There's been a very slow startup and maybe even questions whether it would be viable. That, in our view, GK Partners and MSDG, our approach is we are investing not only on the projects you presented, but on the people who are leading it. So we have faith in the people we've appointed as fellows. So if there are practical problems, and I must say the number is not a lot, very likely it's due to factors beyond anyone's control. So for us, we would follow the audit rules of how to manage it, but our commitment to supporting that project and that person will continue, even if it's in a second round. Because as I said, the criteria was not just the project, but the person as well who were investing in. I've taken lots of notes. My colleagues in Gambia have taken notes in terms of the future of the project. It would be influenced by partly what you've been telling us, and of course, partly what you've actually told us in the written documents. I just give one example. One of the first presentations was the Center for Biological Sciences with the presentation that we had from Dr. Sanyang with his partner, Dr. Jalos J. Sonko, about even what you would have thought is a basic thing like rent for suitable facilities. I picked that up because one of the projects in the pipeline for us, MSDG, is work we're doing with Ministry of Finance and Central Bank of the Gambia for diaspora bonds, relatively small size bonds, but that would go to specific projects. And some of the projects we've been discussing include building modern markets and mini shopping centers in the rural area. But the idea of a science park or a mini industrial park supporting the work of GAIPA may in fact be something that people should think about based on the feedback that we are getting here. Also to announce that some of you were with us 3 weeks ago when we had the session with GAIPA and the Diaspora Strategy. We plan to have another session in 3 weeks' time in July, the same time slot, 2:30 to 5:30 GMT on the Sunday. And GAIPA, that would be dedicated to GAIPA, and they would be able to share with us more of the options and the opportunities. And after the funding finished, we did receive a lot of information about people who said, oh, we didn't know about the project. And of course, that's reflected by the relatively small number of applications from countries like Italy, Spain. So again, we're begging everyone to help us with the publicity and promotion. I know some of you are doing it brilliantly, but in fact, you guys are better at it than us, GK partners or the MSDG in the office. So please help us with that in terms of the promotion, the publicity, so that more people are aware that when we have another round, there would be even a bigger diversity of applicants and awardees. One of the points, one of the ideas we would introduce if there is a successful third round would be also to target second generation Gambians. So most, if not all of the applicants, awardees are first generation Gambian people who were born in Gambia and have left. In the next round, we would have a significant number of second generation Gambians. And to nail that down properly, we have started working on an agreement, a partnership with the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, whereby we'll target young second generation graduates, maybe definitely bachelor's degree, maybe master's degrees, who can come to Gambia for 6 months or 1 full academic year as teaching assistants, mainly in the areas of maths, science, and the sciences, maths, physics, chemistry, biology. So I'm mentioning that as pre-advertisement for you to think of and to help us how to reach young second generation Gambian diaspora who would have that background. We would like in 2024 to recruit some of those people, support them. They come for 1 year. Teaching is a difficult area. But when they come to 1 year, it's like the Peace Corps. They know they have an escape. It's only 1 year. They can return to New York or to Birmingham. But they have a 1 year where they would have significant input to support the sciences in high schools. And of course, they themselves would benefit both in terms of personal growth, but also their career prospects, in that they would have spent 1 year working in a developing country. So please note that, and any ideas you have, share it with us. But at the suitable time, we would need assistance to find those groups of people. Now, final point is there going to be a third round? We had a pilot phase in 2020-21. Then we had this phase 2022-23 with more than 4 or 5 times the amount we spent in the pilot phase. Ideally, we should have another round 24-25, and being able to do 50 fellowships, 50, 60 fellowships, I think that's a decent number. GK Partners MSDG, we are working on that. And part of the reason why we insisted on at least a minimum level of bureaucracy is to build in the discipline, get the audit trail, get the documentation, so that we can show that to partners we work with across the world, raise funds to support these projects. So thank you all for the discipline you've shown. As many of you have mentioned, the challenge you had on evidencing your spending. That problem that you have, we also have it. Every business in Gambia have it, in that many people can't issue you a receipt. But you've found the solution. You've created your receipt books. And one thing I would mention, if you don't do it already, do it. That is, when the people sign their receipt book for you, let them put not only their name, but their telephone numbers. Because our audit system means we may at random telephone that person to check that they were indeed a genuine supplier. That is an important part. So it's a problem, people don't have a receipt, but it's solvable, and you've solved it. So thank you for that discipline. Our approach, GK Partners, our approach to this is we try to bring funds from abroad and bring it to Africa. Not that Africa doesn't have money or Gambia doesn't have money and cannot generate more money for itself. That's needed, and people work on that. But we are specializing on something else. That is, we want to take money from out there and bring it in. And GK Partners have been doing that. We've raised hundreds of millions, if not, perhaps it's crossed the billion mark over the years. And we would continue to work on that. And sometimes you hear some cynical views, people say, but why are we looking at money from the developing countries to bring? We have our own money. Well, the bottom line is there's more money out there than in Africa. The entire GDP of Africa is the same as that of the United Kingdom. I'll repeat that. The entire GDP of Africa, it's the same as that of United Kingdom. So the GDP of Germany is bigger than the economy of all of Africa put together, including the big countries, Nigeria, Egypt, and South Africa. So those are the facts we are dealing with. Secondly, us as diaspora, some of this money that we try to get from UK government or American government or German government is actually our money, because we are either citizens or workers in those countries, and we pay tax there. So there is another justification. So the cynicism of looking for money from outside to bring need to be tempered a little bit, because also as immigrants and so-called minority, you find that Africans tend to be denied access to those public funds in the countries of residence. So other civil society groups and others tend to have more access to the public pot. And remember, that pot belongs to everybody, including the diaspora who work there. So we are working on it with our partners, the Swiss government, and at some point we would be updating you on any progress we have. But most of this work, as you can imagine, is very technical and also involves a lot of personal networks that people have. But be rest assured, we're working on it. And we've already made a decision in principle that projects or individuals can be funded twice, but not more than two. Ahmad Manjang. So Ahmad Manjang was part of the pilot phase, and he did an interesting project on monitoring hypertension and chronic diseases. That was his first project, more on his day job as a biomedical scientist. And he'd been funded again, second round on this. Ahmad, you are on notice, no more money for you. Yeah. So that's the approach we're taking. That's maximum 2. So, but let's say Ahmad Manjang still, because he's a creative chap, he has a brilliant project. Next time around, we have money. We'll say, okay, you Manjang, you're not getting it, but there's nothing stopping him finding another good diasporan Gunjurian to apply in his, and that is the approach we propose to do. So I think in terms of the notes I've kept, those are the main points. And just to thank everyone again, and gosh, we've kept you 2 hours longer than planned. So I apologize for that. And our friends, Eyeafrica, thank you so much as well for keeping on. And Kante, we've been working with him since 2016. Incredible chap, and thanks for the continued collaboration. And all of the other platforms have also been picking this up. And we're pleased that Gambia Talent TV is also a beneficiary. So I hope that Africa can share the recording with them. Perhaps they can also help us circulate it around. And thank you, and over to you, Dube, for you to dismiss us, as it were.
Thank you so much, Professor Jibril Fall, for that brilliant way forward on the DDF. So I thank all of you for accepting the invitation and for your brilliant presentation. Look forward to seeing you again. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.